Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ETN.
Cheers.
It's the most European podcast in the world. I'll give you a little cheers there, bud.
Big day today
Flat white.
in ETN studio. Cheers. Cheers, good sir.
Cheers, good sir. A massive day. Today is
It's good flat white today, actually.
19th of
It's very
February.
nice.
Thank you for joining us today. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. Before we do that, what are the updates?
Quick word from our sponsor. Airwallex, be the reason you're often... Oh no, that's the wrong one. Leave out days of business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com.
That's it.
We have a stacked lineup
Do we
today,
have
as usual.
any updates from Tuesday? Just on
What,
ETN side,
updates,
yeah.
Generally, we had a fairly viral banger. That was pretty update.
Yeah, we did actually.
We're having some good chats
pretty nuts.
in the background as well, which is always fun. More
that?
announcements to come. It's going to be a big few months for ETM, which is really
We've got some
cool.
really cool stuff to share soon.
Cool
but for now,
announcements
it's we're in stealth with that. We're stealthing it.
Anyway, guess
What's that
for
on?
today.
Hold up, 543,000. That's our first over half a
Our
milli.
first fairly banger.
Half a milli club. Love to see it. I then also leached off the back of that success.
Yeah,
with
you
my
really
own
did. I should have put some effort into
tweet.
my quote tweet. I'm actually quite sad that I didn't.
So what did yours get? Oh wait, I've won our challenge again.
Yeah.
Every time I say let's do a challenge, the next day I go viral and win it.
Yeah, you've won the challenge.
I think I've unlocked
Again.
how to go. Oh, it's on 110k mine.
Wow,
That's
fair
insane.
play.
I didn't know that.
That's pretty good.
Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Britain is so unbelievably back. And I think on that note,
Hey,
couple of trumpets for the boys.
love to see
Anyway,
it.
let's get into. We can go over the news, but let's do the lineup first. You want to maybe just list off?
Yeah,
We've
I
got some
can
great
list up.
bios for these people here. Can I do
list
Ben
off some.
Freeman's?
Yeah, mate, do it. It's the first one. Do it.
Okay. Literally to start the show, we've got Ben Freeman, CEO and founder of Omnia, putting the re in premium software.
Hey,
You like that?
Nice.
Ben's the CEO and co-founder of Omnia.
Was that you? Was that you or was that AI?
That was me. Yeah. Just
That was me.
little something I cooked up yesterday.
Okay,
Just thought
nice.
I'd share it with you.
Good on you, pal.
Omnia
Love that.
it's the AI native procurement platform. They're on a tear recently, picking up a 50 mil Series B late last year. They've 3x their revenues year on year.
So when we announced Ben, I had three people.
Ben's guest announcement was one of the most high performing.
Yeah. I had three of just people who I don't like. I guess they're buddies, they're mates. But some are VCs. I had one founder and two VCs, and they all said to me "Oh, you've got my portfolio founder on." One of them actually commented on the post. Shout out to Mark. I had
cap
three
table
DMs
stacked.
all saying, they're my portfolio company.
Yeah. Cap table stacked. But yeah, we've got him coming on first, which is going to be awesome.
Very cool indeed.
Straight after Ben, we've got
With the big dog.
what a treat this is.
So he posted a really good. Okay, so the guest is Barney Hussey. He's the founder and CEO of Clio. It's an AI-powered financial assistant, and it surpassed $1 billion valuation earlier last year or this year. And he is very active in politics. He is very active on LinkedIn and X specifically.
I was about to say I commented Barney for PM on the guest
you did.
announcement post, but he actually also, I think he tweeted out recently I would run for PM if I wasn't doing Clio or something.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope it's him. I hope I've got that right. If I'm not, I'm just spreading rumors. Clickbait.
But he
clickbait
posted
there
a
for
really
any
good
clippers.
tweet. Actually, I'm going to get it up recently, and I commented on it and said, "Dude, I'm just so excited for you to come on the show." So he wrote a tweet, and I'll just read it out. We'd have to get this on the screen, but he said, "Got some time with the PM at number 10 last night. Probably should have worn a shirt. Definitely shouldn't have said, well, what are you going to do about it?" in response to one of his answers. Likely not getting invited back, but I do think it's great that you can challenge the PM directly. Guess what I was pushing him on? ? I got 45,000 views. There's a picture with the PM, a bunch of
Look
other
at that,
folk.
who's lurking on the right there.
Barney just kind of chilling like this. with, you know, he's got a pretty cool blazer on, just a white shirt, pretty cash, but also, you know, I feel like that's pretty like smart cash. Also, he runs a company that does 350 million in revenue. So
whatever he wants. Could turn up in pajamas.
He can turn up, yeah.
Do a zuck.
Turn up in a wife beater if he wants.
Love to see Victor just like
is going ham. He's chatting about this, that, and the other.
Victor's getting in there as well. We love to see it.
And dude, I just replied. I was like, I found that hilarious, and I replied and said, haha, man, can't wait to have you on the show.
Love that.
And he liked
Loved that.
Which is nice.
Amazing to welcome him in. We will be doing that after we have Ben, who's founder of Omnia. Then we've got Barney, founder of Clio. Following that, we have Damien Tanner, co-founder and CEO of Toyo. Toyo are doing OpenClaw for enterprise. Everyone's been waiting for this.
They've just done a huge pivot, actually.
Yes. Previously doing voice.
So they raised off their previous thing, which was voice, AI, voice, something in voice agents or something. They raised the 4.3 million seed, and then pivoted after all of the OpenClaw stuff came out.
Really?
I think I'm gonna have to ask him, but 2 days ago, they announced their $4.3 million seed round.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Then we have Jamie McFarlane, CEO and co-founder of Creator Fund. It's a European VC firm that kind of invests in university spin-outs in deep tech. They have quite an interesting model, similar to like a Belief Capital that just raised their fund. Shout out to, who runs that? Is it
Kevin
Costa. Kevin Costa, shout out to Kevin. Essentially, they have like a bunch of like student scouts, like PhD scouts and associates, I believe, kind of go out to all of these universities, think about all the top ones, all the PhDs, and, give first checks before it's even a company. It's just a research project, and says, hey, we can kind of turn this into something a little bit more commercial, and almost like incubates from that. I believe that's what they do. They've just raised a $41 million fund for its like first institutional fund. So it's going to be good to talk to Jamie. Jamie seems like a gangster. I've never talked to him before.
Chat to him.
But I was reading a few of his LinkedIn posts, and he just seems like a cool guy. It's going to be
he followed the LinkedIn page.
Yeah,
straight away I was like, love. Be an honor to host you.
You should come on the show. Yeah. Anyway, then we have Konstantin Kotula. He's the co-founder of Porters. Porters is a fintech startup building AI native software to automate regulated banking in the back office. So we've had a bunch of fintechs on who kind of do more like consumer side, a little bit more, what's the word? Less kind of like nitty gritty, I guess. Like back end has always been the thing that you don't really want to do.
But look, we can't forget about the back end.
You can't forget about the
Without the back end, there'd be no front end.
Exactly. And originally, banks, if they were to grow 10x, you would have to grow employee count by 10x to just take the volume of everything else going on, whether that's kind of like AML checks or anything to do with kind of like fraud and all of that kind of stuff. But Porters allows banks to kind of scale without having to kind of increase your head count. So it's going to be an interesting one. They have quite a few interesting kind of takes and tactics, which is cool. But they were invested. They did a $2.7 million pre-seed from our friends over at Early Bird and Seed Camp. Shout out to Akash and Will Bennett. We love those guys. And then we have Neil Tawari. He is the co-founder and CEO of Conversion. Conversion is a startup that helps mid-market companies automate hyper-personalized lead journeys and has raised $30 million in total. They just did a 28 million Series A led by Abstract. It's going to be good to talk to them. I'm excited.
Let's go.
And we have one more.
Close it off. We've got Nikola Merksic. I'm pretty sure.
Merksic.
It's his second time on the show. We cannot wait to sit with Nikola again. He's co-founder and CEO of Poly AI. They've recently done a collaboration with Gordon Ramsay. For those who don't know, they do customer service voice agents, essentially. They're processing over 500 million calls at the moment, working with some massive enterprise brands. And they did like a new launch video yesterday. And I was so like,
I thought they'd raise 200 mil from like Nvidia, Google Ventures.
Like total raise today, like that, it wasn't a new raise.
No.
I thought it was at first, but it's not. But like they basically did a post showing all the work they've been doing recently, and this is only since the last time that he's come on the show, which is not. It's like a month. But but yeah, they've done like a partnership with Gordon Ramsay. They've just posted figures about how many calls they're processing. It's nuts. It's 500 million. Like this space is really heating up. He's an absolute legend. I remember last time he was on the show, was playing a recording of one of their agents experiencing like an interaction with like a customer, and it was so nuts where the individual who had called, like, hey, I've got a problem with this. Poly AI's agent responds, and the individual is being rude to it at first. He's like, oh, this is a bot. And then halfway through the conversation, for those who didn't see this, the individual actually apologizes to the bot because he thinks that it's not a bot anymore. Like he assumed it was a bot, was being really rude to it, then was so...
Wasn't the bot rude, but was just acting like you would with a bot.
With a bot, wait. Being rude. Ooh, bit of echo. Was being rude to the bot. And he says, I'm so sorry. I was being so rude.
You were a bot.
I thought you were a bot, but you're obviously not. And it was a bot, which is sick. It's just so mad.
It's kind of scary, that, but also quite cool.
That is the rundown for the guests. Let's talk.
He's had a nut story as well. He used to work at Apple on Siri after I think he got acqui-hired. Build a company out of uni with a few mates, got acqui-hired by Apple to build out Siri, and thought Siri's just not going to be the thing that is going to win. It was too. I think he mentioned it was like too closed or something. Like it just didn't allow for what they wanted to work on to be a thing, if that makes sense. And so kind of quit Apple and
said
started building Poly AI.
You got to let me fly.
Gotta let me fly.
Gotta let me fly, man.
You gotta let me fly.
In news, what's new? Recent headlines.
Before the news, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com.
Polymarket.com. Sequoia leads 1 billion seed round for ex-Google scientist new AI lab. We did a tweet, got 500,000 views, still climbing. The funding deal would value excellent coffee today. Yeah.
Sometimes they really just don't do it well. I have to say.
This one was a good one.
It was a very good one. I loved it.
Okay, are you done interrupting me?
It's third coffee of the day.
Your third coffee of the day?
Yeah.
What have you been doing all morning?
I've been up since 5:30. Needed.
What?
I was at the gym.
All right. Up since 5:30, but was late to the studio.
Yeah.
Cheers. Nice one, mate. Anyway, let's get back to it. Sequoia leads 1 billion seed round for ex-Google scientist new AI lab. We're going to dig into that. It's just amazing news. So good to see. It seems like everyone's kind of rallied behind the content and the news. Zuck is battling social media addiction claims. Reanimating the dead is okay, but beauty filters on your Instagram, not cool, man. We're going to dig into that a little bit more. For those who were listening last week,
get that.
Meta have recently been not really dragged through the headlines as much as I thought they would. It seems to be mainly just circulating on Twitter, but they've basically passed a patent that would allow them to reanimate dead Facebook accounts and
which they've been working
on AI
since 2013, was it?
2023.
Oh, right.
They had the patent created then, I think, and it's just been cleared. Obviously,
I thought it was longer than that.
Impending doom associated with that.
Black Mirror-esque.
Yeah, it's just not cool. It's just such a weird thing to do. Perplexity resurfaces out of nowhere. I don't know where these guys have been. It's good to see them back. And says, we're going to drop advertising. It's going to hurt trust in AI. I have so many thoughts on this. Let's just hold it there for a second. We can get to that later. And then also we've got the Sifted article from Toyo raising their $4.3 million seed round. It's OpenClaw for founders and enterprise companies. We know that a load of people are going to be buzzing about this. I'm sure they've already got demand smashing their door down. But first, let's go on the Sequoia.
So it was a big day yesterday for European progress, European technology. The largest ever seed round led by Sequoia Capital. There's been a little bit of stick that it wasn't led by a European VC firm. We're of the opinion that it doesn't matter.
Who cares? This is sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up to all those people.
Up. This is good. I feel like European VC firms aren't big enough to lead around like this, unfortunately. Which I don't think, again, is that much of a, it's not that bad right now. They're staying in London. The exodus of talent moving over to SF, obviously there's been stick that Peter Steinberger didn't stay in Europe, and the fact that Europe didn't take the opportunity to keep him and have kind of been shutting him down type thing.
Which we think is ridiculous.
Which again, think is ridiculous. It's absolutely fine in our eyes. It's,
The guy grinded.
Indeed.
Harder than anyone. built a generational company in his own room.
He built $1 billion company. His first solo $1 billion company, which is
rumors
hilarious that people. I love that people just assuming they just jump to billion.
Yeah. I mean, like, it wouldn't be a wild assumption, but everyone is. There are no facts to what's the source.
His pay package will be in the 9 figures.
Oh, it'll be huge. It'll be absolutely huge. It's over now. But yeah, we are. We think that's a great thing. Awesome work, Peter Steinberger. Really, really cool. And then we've also got one of his tweets to look at later where he kind of addresses some of the stick. But dude,
let's read out this
huge fans
FT article.
So Sequoia leads $1 billion seed round for ex-Google scientist. New AI lab funding deal would value David Silver startup Ineffable Intelligence at $4 billion. David Silver, one of Britain's top AI researchers. We've done a little bit of a deep dive on David Silver as well. I can tell you more about his background after this. But he's raising $1 billion for a new company aiming to build superhuman intelligence in a deal led by Sequoia Capital. That would be the largest seed round ever in Europe. The round is expected to value the nascent startup at about $4 billion, not including the new investment, according to people with knowledge on the matter. It comes amid a rush to back prominent researchers leaving big AI labs to work on experimental technologies. What a amazing headline. We love to see it. Of course, Silver has left Google DeepMind late last year to launch the London-based startup Ineffable Intelligence. I'm hoping that they're going to be in King's Cross. I'm pretty sure they will be.
They will be.
That's where everyone... I mean, it's around the corner from DeepMind.
He works at DeepMind. So yeah, they will be. Lots of people... So there's a thing that we'll touch on. I might as well touch on it now. But Silver is part of a larger pattern of deep tech elites leaving the safe havens of big tech to build their own empires. So you've got David Silver, Google DeepMind, building Ineffable Intelligence as of yesterday. Jan LeCun, obviously Meta chief AI scientist. He's now building at AMI Labs. They kind of came out and raised the $500 million at $3 billion valuation not that long ago. Arthur Mentz.
The Mistral founder?
Yeah. No. Yeah. He left Google DeepMind.
Oh, man.
To build Mistral. That was $105 million seed round. Ilya Sutskever.
Ilya.
Yeah.
One of the goats, of course.
OpenAI co-founder.
We're seeing Mira off there
now,
as well. Thinking Machine.
Safe superintelligence.
I mean, why would you not, right? Like, if Mira can go out and raise... I can't remember what Thinking Machines did. It was something nuts, like $3 billion or something. Mm-hmm. Not really heard much from them after everyone was leaving, though. So maybe we'll have to check in on them. But this is a thing, though, right? Like, this is a thing that's been discussed.
More kind of people leaving.
Well, the suicide rounds. You raise such an insane amount of capital with no product, no revenue, no anything. And like, how are you ever meant to outperform the insane valuations that you've set? Like, it just kills the company. So we were looking, I mean, now it's only really relevant to these.
I think this is not as relevant though, because if you have a big, like Thinking Machines, how many co-founders were there? There were a lot.
There were 5. So
almost like in the mind of the co-founders leaves space and leaves room. I don't know how many co-founders David has, but I assume I think it's just 2 of them, right?
I'm not sure.
I think there's 2. And if you're going to go on the journey, one, you have to raise a lot of money on that journey specifically.
Yeah.
They're at the elite level. They can kind of spring themselves to a $4 billion valuation, at a seed round stage. So yes, technically you could argue that, these things don't always kind of work out. And that is a suicide round, I guess.
Yeah.
But I would say that's their only option. It's not like they're going to go and raise, a $2 million seed round or whatever.
Yeah, imagine that. It's like, we raised $4.5 million. Like, everyone's like,
great.
I mean, the Twitter trolls would be like, Europe is so cooked, man. Like,
yeah, $4 million.
OpenAI burns that in an hour. It's like, okay. But no, you are right. I completely agree. They have to. There's no other choice.
Exactly. If they went to go and raise Sequoia partners Alfred Lin and Sonia Huang flew to London to visit Silver.
Who's also
to go and
professor at UCL.
It's very. Were you taught by him?
No, I wasn't doing comp sci. I was doing geography. Well, geology at UCL, but dropped out after 6 months.
Well, look at you now, pal.
Look at me now. I'm a podcaster. Take that, man. So back to the article. We're getting incredibly sidetracked. Big tech groups, including Nvidia, Google, and Microsoft, were also in talks to invest, the people said, adding that negotiations are live and the final terms could change. If included at $1 billion, it would be the largest first round ever raised by a European startup, according to PitchBook. And as we've already discussed, like top researchers have raised unprecedented sums from untested startups promising to build AI that will outperform large language models from OpenAI, Google, or Anthropic, such as the flurry of activity that last month 2 separate startups, Recursive Intelligence and Recursive AI, both undertook funding talks with a price tag of $4 billion, according to people familiar with those deals. And for some reason, these large rounds with multiple co-founders, they do seem to be prone to breaking up. Like one of the ones that I always reference, because we kind of sat in the same space as them at Convergence, was the H Company, which I think they had 5 co-founders, 4 of them left over the 6 months. There wasn't a single piece.
Semi-recently about them.
A few months back, yeah. Well, it was just like, they're doing the FDE model.
Yeah, now
they hired someone
FDEs.
From Palantir, now it's FDEs, now like they're back on track. It's like, well, you can't just hire someone from Palantir and then say we're doing FDEs, and then it's like, they're fine, they've got FDEs going out. I've always been like somewhat bearish on them, only because I've just seen like over the year. I think now things are looking a bit better. Like they kind of sorted out the C-suite, they sorted out the some of the leaders.
Yeah,
but there was just no They raised €1 billion seed, I think, something nuts, like something very, very nuts. And there was just no the only comms that was coming out from them over 7 months was co-founders leaving. They had one tweet that was paid, which had like hundreds of bot replies on it. They had one paid marketing tweet out and then 0 comms, and all the co-founders were leaving. But I think maybe things are back on track now. I saw that they've done some stuff recently. There's a bit more activity. They've brought someone else in who's a lot more forward-facing, a lot more communicative about what's going on internally and all that sort of stuff, which is a great sign. You know, it's building trust with people that support the company and et cetera. But yeah, it just seems that massive raises with large amounts of co-founders can sometimes just be a recipe for disagreement.
It leaves space.
Yeah. Well, it's just like 5 minds. Give 5 minds a bit. Like a billion.
Five very, very bright minds.
Yeah. That will all have like a similar philosophy probably, but maybe differentiating by a few sort of
and I think that's
direction.
These things, they move so quickly, and they have to, because they have VCs on the cap table that care only exclusively about growth. And so 5 co-founders who any one disagreement might kind of derail that. And
God, that is good coffee, by the way.
Yeah, it is really good.
I don't know what they've done to that. No sugar, obviously.
No, it's not sweet. It's
I don't know. That just tastes a little bit sweet at the end.
Better. Thanks to our barista.
Let's look at David Silver's background, so we can just go back to.
Yeah.
I don't have to share my screen for this. We can just. I've got some notes on it here. So who is David Silver? Like I didn't know. I'd heard his name thrown about previously, but only because my previous founders that I worked with had discussed him in front of me. I hadn't heard of him prior to this, but he was he's one of the godfathers of modern AI. Like, so his academic foundation. This is like his academic background. So David, this is 1993 to 1997. David Silver attended Cambridge University, specifically in Christ College, where this kind of like sort of laid the ground for his career in computer science. He met and was like friends with Demis during their studies. And then obviously this partnership would go on to change the landscape of AI in the future. He graduated in 1997. Then in a similar way to Demis, next came this sort of like video game entrepreneurship path.
Wasn't Demis doing that before he went to uni?
Was it before?
Yeah, he was working at a video games company before he went to university.
Because he couldn't go, could he? Yeah. They wouldn't let him in. And then they offered him like $1 million or something to stay because he built like a game that went insanely viral or something. And
he built a super successful game and then was like, nah, I want to go to Cambridge.
Like, nah, I'm good. I want to study more. That's such a
it sounds like he had a great time, Cambridge.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look at the people he's chilling with. It's insane. But yeah, so David at Cambridge, following his time at Cambridge, he co-founded like a London-based developer and served a game developer and served as CTO and lead programmer there. He was responsible for titles like Republic, The Revolution, and Evil Genius, focusing on like complex simulations and early agent-based AI stuff. This is, by the way, in 1998, 2003. Then comes 2004, 2009, when he sort of really we started doing his PhD basically and really got into like reinforcement learning and mastered it. So Silver shifted from like industry back to academia. He went to the University of Alberta, specialized in a niche field of AI. He studied under Richard Sutton, the primary pioneer of reinforcement learning. And his PhD thesis, Reinforcement Learning and Simulation-Based Search in Computer Go. Now we're seeing like the early days of what happened after it at DeepMind. Provided the theoretical blueprint for teaching machines to master games with near infinite complexity. Then comes like his postdoc and what is now DeepMind. So returning to the UK, Silver balanced a rising academic career with the beginnings of a historic startup. He joined UCL, University College London, as a researcher and later became a professor of computer science. I saw really cool when we did our tweet about like, this is happening. Somebody retweeted it saying, "That's my old professor."
No way, really?
Yeah. That's Which imagine that, how cool that would be.
Yeah. My old professor's just raised the largest seed round in Europe, and
so
now
cool.
owns a $4 billion company.
Yeah, so awesome.
Wild.
I wonder what my old professors are doing. Shout out to them.
Big up geology.
Yeah, geology and then geography after that. I actually loved geology, to be fair. Geology was really interesting.
Good on you, pal.
I had a good time. But anyway, so that, now he's a professor of computer science at UCL, and then becomes founding member of DeepMind and sort of works for like a consultant for them as well. During its inception in 2010, bringing his academic reinforcement learning research with the company's mission to solve intelligence. Now, Silver joined DeepMind around 2013 full-time just before its acquisition with Google. Great time to join, right before the acquisition.
Huge.
Which is like famously one of the most underpriced acquisitions of all time. As a principal research scientist, he led the reinforcement learning research group through its most famous milestones. So DQN 2015 created an AI that learned to play 49 different Atari games from scratch using only raw pixels as input. The famous AlphaGo. This is honestly, if you haven't watched the AlphaGo documentary yet, it is one of the most nuts things. It's quite emotional as well. Like it is like a quite emotional watch, especially from like Lisa Doll. So Lisa Doll was one of I think he was the best Go players in the world. And David Silver led the team that defeated world champion Lisa Doll in a landmark moment in AI history. So they were, they're battling for a number of games with Go as well. The combinations, think about it's like chess but super hard. The combinations that, in terms of like the amount of combinations of different moves on the Go board, I can't remember what the certain stat is, but it's like one of the most. It's when people say, "Oh, there's more stars in the universe than grains of sand on every beat." It's something that's crazy. It's something like in that realm. Which is insane. But yeah, he led the team that defeated world champion Lisa Doll. I think Lisa Doll gets incredibly emotional as well because he wins one game, I think, and that was it is.
Yeah, it's
like a really cool. Yeah, it's like this is all good kind of thing. Which is cool. And then AlphaZero in 2017 developed a generalized system that mastered chess, shogi, and Go by playing against itself with zero human data, followed by AlphaStar in 2019, achieved Grandmaster status in the complex real-time strategy game StarCraft 2. There are some really cool clips from the Thinking Game documentary about that, when they get some of the professional players from StarCraft 2 to play against the model that they built. And at first, they're kind of quite easily winning, and then when it starts picking up, the humans are still winning, but the guy's that's insane how fast this thing. This guy's been playing for his whole life.
How did you
and it's been a couple of weeks or something in between when he last played it. But yeah, one of the most involved and prolific AI researchers of the modern era.
So what I didn't realize when you said it was when he worked under when he studied under Richard Sutton, who was a pioneer of reinforcement learning, ineffable intelligence, they basically are doing reinforcement learning. So ChatGPT is trained on text from the internet. Silver's models learns through experience and interaction. Is their kind of big differentiator, I guess. It's just within the environment, you're training from experience. So the example that I kind of found was think of teaching a child to learn how to walk by trying to walk instead of like by teaching them by kind of like reading a book about walking. And that's the kind of key differentiator between the two.
Yeah, someone was saying he was known.
That's super interesting.
He's quite not like there's limitations on how far one can take like the LLMs. There needs to be like a next sort of stage, which is what he sort of discusses here for ineffable intelligence. And it's like based on his paper Era of Experience, which I saw a lot of people were quote tweeting on the post. He argues that AI must move beyond training on human text and instead learn through its own continuous interaction with environments.
We're seeing that now with, I mean, even with like OpenClaw, of like learning from each other, learning from like the community, if that makes sense. You know, they're agentic and they're actually taking action off the back of previous action instead of, who did we talk to on Tuesday about that? I can't remember who it was, but they were basically saying, you know, you're not having to like prompt anymore. It's now, you know, it's like a reinforcement thing as this is. It's like
probably
agent takes an action and it's now not just because this happens and this happens. You're then going, it's like reasoning. So I think they were talking about you know, emails was like the big thing. So it's like if the agent can see it has context on every single email you've sent, it will now understand what date those emails are and therefore the relevance of them. So if the email is 6 months old compared to an email that's 2 weeks old, it will now reason off the back of that instead of just kind of taking them all as like a blanket statement, if that makes sense. So I assume this is what they're like, the kind of bet that they're doing, and they argue that AI will soon acquire kind of like superhuman intelligence by learning from its own data rather than human generated data. And they say that human generated data is like a finite resource because, you know, the AI at the moment is only as good, especially like LLMs, just prompting an LLM is only as good as the input that it's been given. Now it's, as we can see from like Maltbook and agents actually interacting with each other. I watched a YouTube video from someone on X who's big on X, and he kind of did a YouTube video about the way he's using OpenClaw. And he was like, I will go to sleep and because I've said something during the day that might be useful, it will have the autonomy to go out, do that thing without me. I didn't even prompt it to do anything. It will go out, it will try something. And then in the morning I'll wake up and it will say, hey, I've tried this because you mentioned this. Let me know if you want me to do it. And he was like, you know, more than 50% of the time, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, that's awesome.
Sick. Do that
so
thing.
It's like my intelligence isn't now hindering the kind of performance of the output of the AI. It is an autonomous, genuinely autonomous, and therefore agentic, you know, thing, whatever you're calling it. And that's obviously what they're building, and super bullish, and something that I assume will rival what kind of Peter is working on at OpenAI.
No, it looks insane. I agree. I saw a funny tweet the other day that was like just about all these like at-home setups of agents and all this sort of stuff. That was like just like me talking to my friend, and the friend's like, dude, I was up for like 10 hours yesterday. I didn't sleep all day. I was just like building these agents, man. Like my setup is so crazy. And then it's like the reply is, cool. What did you build? It's like, and then the guy replies like, dude, my setup I've got like 5 Mac Minis now. Like they're all just running autonomously. Like I've just got this cool setup. And the guy's like, nice. Like what did you build over this time? He's like, I'm probably only paying like a couple $100 a month for my setup right now, man. But like, it's just like not actually like, it's not actually built anything, which is really funny. I thought it was really, really cool. Let me tell you about our friends over there at Spectre. Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre at tryspectre.com. You can harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets.
Boom.
Moving on, next on today's list.
So big news. That was awesome. I love that.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, really cool little wrap up there.
Move on
Congrats
to Zuck.
all involved.
Mrs. Zuck.
Let's go to the Zuckinator. Zuckerberg battles social media addiction claims. Reanimating the dead is okay, but beauty filters are not. We are going to dig into this. Let me, I can share my screen. This is, I I don't know why the reanimation of the dead thing hasn't been picked up more.
Why does he look so small in this picture?
But I think he is kind of small, isn't he?
He just looks like he's being seriously frame mogged by this guy on the right.
On the right, yeah. Wow, that guy's got an excellent frame.
He looks like he's been minimised.
Yeah, he
no
does.
offense to Zach, but I'm sorry, you won't watch this.
That's one of his bodyguards.
I don't know. Well, I assume the bodyguards will be behind him.
And the trim. Well, no, what about a front-facing threat?
All of these bodyguards.
Yeah, look at that guy. He's built like a SAS soldier, and his trim is very clean. He's got ready for the day. He's had a haircut at the weekend. He knows that he's going to be getting snapped next to Zerk, and he thought, I'm going to take this opportunity to frame mog
that guy.
Frame mog him.
Let me frame mog him.
Moving on, Mark Zuckerberg overruled 18 well-being experts to keep beauty filters on Instagram. The big tech chief takes stand in legal case over whether companies' products are addictive to children. This is Hannah Murphy from the FT. Mark Zuckerberg told a jury on Wednesday that he overruled concerns about teen well-being from staff and 18 experts to lift a ban on Instagram beauty filters because he was concerned about free expression. The billionaire social media boss faced a grilling in...
Shout out to Dawn Capital.
You all right?
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways. The billionaire social media boss faced a grilling in a Los Angeles court on Wednesday as he battles a landmark legal claim that social media is addictive to children. So let me just read that again. Billionaire social media boss faced a grilling in a Los Angeles court on Wednesday as he battles a landmark legal claim that social media is addictive to children. For the record, love Zuck. I loved his rebrand. I love the fact that he was holding an American flag whilst wakeboarding off the back of
wakeboards a lot.
A boat whilst drinking a beer. I just thought that was really cool. He trains UFC all the time. He's keeping physically fit. I think that's a great thing.
I don't know, man. The way he's being frame mogged in this picture tells me differently.
I mean, obviously, there's a huge aura loss here for the frame mogging that's been going down. We need to find out who that man is who's just brutally frame mogged Mark Zuckerberg. Thoughts and prayers go out to Mark's family for that one.
Maybe he's not around anymore because he's frame mogged.
He's just been taken out of the equation. But yeah, Instagram temporarily suspended beauty filters which digitally alter people's appearance to conduct a review of features in 2019. All of the 18 experts Meta hired concluded they presented a well-being issue. Mark Zuckerberg told the court there was a high bar for demonstrating harm, calling the restrictions paternalistic and overbearing, adding he wanted to err on the side of people being able to express themselves in making the decision. What do you think?
So people are. So I had a few, looked at a few replies on X and tweets, and basically people are saying that this is like a potential shift in social media. There's a shift going on in the whole of social media. Obviously, X has had this huge backlash about the way that it's using it.
With
it's AI
being
potentially banned in Britain, but please don't do that because that would be sad. And it feels like there's a huge shift, and that was the kind of sentiment that I got when reading a lot of the things. A lot of people are comparing it to the big tobacco thing. So legal proceedings are being compared to the 1990s crackdown on big tobacco, signaling a potential shift in how social media companies are being regulated. Essentially, what happened there was just more regulation on tobacco, essentially. And it feels like things are becoming so things are moving so fast, and there is so many different ways to take advantage of people and doing whatever, this, that, and the other. And I think there's this natural crackdown, and there might be like an overcorrection of kind of regulation before it kind of dies down. And whether it does or not, I don't know, but.
Yeah, I think anyone who claims that social media is not addictive, I think is a lunatic.
Yeah.
I think it's a completely outrageous thing to say. It is quite
Whoever
obviously
says it's not addictive. They are addicted.
Yeah, well, it's the most ridiculous thing to say. It is quite obviously addictive. It is quite obviously why these massive corporations will hire
behavioral psychologists.
To gamify the app to increase the time that you spend on it. And look, I'm a huge fan of social media. I mean, I didn't have it for a number of years, like Instagram in particular. or anything else, to be honest. I think I only had LinkedIn, which is kind of tragic.
That's so rough.
I know. It's an embarrassing 4 years, but also quite a blissful 4 years. I mean, I rarely, used it, but
I actually saw a tweet that that meme that's going around with like that couple dancing, like really kind of like euphorically. Do you know that?
Oh yeah. It's like the situationship you had or something.
I saw be this. Those tweets where it's like be this person, and then like a list of whatever. It's like be this person, and it's like quit tech, don't care about AI. Live on a farm and only
get out.
Whatever, basically get out of the tech matrix. It was that video, and I was like,
and it's funny.
I kind of agree.
Dude, there's a blissful there's doomer AI stuff.
Blissful ignorance.
Blissful ignorance.
Is bliss.
Yeah. I mean, look. They're probably having a great time. Me personally, I like to sit on X all day, but. Going back to the social media thing, it's quite obviously addictive. Like you just cannot argue with that based on the premise that they hire behavioral psychologists and behavioral like UX UI designers to make the app in a certain way. It's the reason that
every deal of the decade. Go to trispector.com.
I love that for you. Amazing ad placement there. Try skipping that one, viewers. And
so can't is lie.
It's quite obvious that these things are addictive. They're built in a way that would keep one's attention focused on the platform, and I don't think that's obviously, when you break it down to its bare bones, maybe that's not a great thing. But I love the app. I love spending time on the app. I think X is an excellent source of news if you have the understanding to know understand.
I think once you train the algorithm, you're good.
Yes, but also understanding that the For You page is. I think there is an argument here where you could argue that the For You page is just constantly giving stuff you want to see. So I think there's a potential danger there.
Yeah.
If you are maybe on a certain political party or political leaning, that you're only ever going to get push stuff that you believe in.
Okay, so I've got an example of this. So I watched, obviously, the Restore Britain party has kind of overtaken the Lib Dems in recent days. Literally within days has kind of blown up and is a huge.
They had that video that did,
and they had the 7-minute video
that did like 55 million views.
From Robert Lowe. I watched the 7-minute video because I just thought it's interesting. I enjoy politics. Turns out that was a really stupid thing to do because I'm getting some very very far right tweets on my X account. And I don't really interact with these far right tweets.
But this is the
often,
problem.
But it's the fact that I spent 7 whole minutes, which is a long time.
This is the problem.
On one post, just watching that video.
Yeah, it's a problem with the X with the and like people have been outspoken about the X algorithm in terms of
idling time is very. There's like a hierarchy, right? I think it's either idle time or if you press on the on the profile when you're looking at the tweet, then it goes repost, quote post is probably the same, comment above, and then like is just like really not very what's the word, like expensive or whatever it is in terms of like the hierarchy. But idle time is a really huge factor.
Well, mate, that I'm not like the biggest football fan in the world. I don't really watch any sports. And I think of one of those like videos of Ronaldo with like a Clash of Clans theme song playing over it of him scoring like a montage of his goals or something. Came up on my feed. And
by the way, quick thing. So James Dacombe has
founder of Comind.
Huge
fan. He hasn't replied to my message.
He replied to he quote tweeted our tweet.
He follows us.
And Demis Hassabis has quote tweeted that tweet.
What? Demis has just...
Hello, Demis. How's it going? Let's just get this up.
Nuts.
Let's get this
Can
up.
I get this up?
Yeah. James Dacombe. So
this is breaking. How can I... Is this on the ETN account?
Just go on ETN and go on to, I assume, I don't know, something. We have 10 minutes, but quick. So...
Oh, that won't get our tweet in it, will it?
Yesterday, we posted a tweet breaking the Sequoia news that it led the largest European seed round of all time. And that did really, really well, which is great. Then James Dacombe this morning at 6 a.m., I saw it when I woke up, that he he has two observations. He @Demis and says, @Demis has done more for the UK by demanding DeepMind remain headquartered in London that arguably any Briton in recent decades, never mind all of his other achievements for the world. His actions will single-handedly account for the majority of the UK's future growth if the politicians can manage to stay out of the way. What a legend.
Shots fired.
Number 2. Sequoia are to be back and playing aggressively again. The reason he said that is because the two general partners have flew over to London to go and grab David Silver and get a check in there quick. Demis Hassabis, as of 3 minutes ago, has quote tweeted that and seen ETN, which is kind of wild. He says, "Thanks, James. That's very kind. I love London and the UK and want to see it do well on the world stage. I also wish my longtime colleague Dave Silver, we've worked together since our student days at Cambridge, all the best with his exciting new venture. This is how thriving ecosystems are built."
Let's go.
I am going to
We love that. We love Demis. Yeah, let's do a little. We can do a live repost from the ETN account.
Thanks, Demis.
Boom. But
And
we don't
thanks to
we don't follow Demis because we've not had him on the show. We only follow people we've had on the show. So sorry about that.
Anyway, moving on. We should talk about Perplexity ads. They're now back in the headlines. They haven't been. They've been a little bit quiet, which is weird. But before we do that, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, expense management, all-in-one.
Sorry.
Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com.
I'm just checking if I can go off my thing. Is that right? Yeah, cool. So the next topic of discussion, as Luke mentioned, is Perplexity. They say ads are going to hurt AI.
They've been awfully quiet.
So let's get this bad boy up. This is from Christina Criddle at the FT.
So I don't know if it says it in the article, but the Perplexity rolled out ads like super early.
They were the first to do it.
Yeah, but the first by
years, a year.
Yeah.
And they did it well. It was like
and it didn't have the backlash that, I mean, I guess they're, a lot smaller. They're only valued at 18 billion compared to, all the other hyperscalers.
18 billion?
18 billion, 200 million in annual revenue.
Valued at 18 billion. Oh, yeah. I thought it was more than that.
I thought it was more than that. But
I mean, we just probably just been
doing that well. I used to be pilled on Perplexity. I loved it. I thought it was so good. And it was the best research model when I was doing anything in terms of research, understanding something. Maybe a year ago, it was so good. It wasn't when they released ads onto the platform.
I thought their ads were tasteful.
It was like here in my books with everything else here, and then eventually kind of ChatGPT just did this. And then suddenly when Gemini 3 launched, it went like that.
Yeah.
And now I just exclusively use Gemini and Claude.
Yeah, Gemini's been fibbing to me a bit lately, so I've had to, a few times I've asked it to double check that.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of fibs.
Do you use the fast or do you use thinking?
I don't know. I just get on it. I'm not sure which one I'm using.
Great.
Back to Perplexity.
Let's talk about Perplexity.
So, have obviously been pretty quiet recently. We haven't really heard. A lot of people have been saying where are they at? Why are we not hearing anything from them? As Luke mentioned, they were definitely in the conversation maybe a year ago. Maybe a testament to how fast things can change here. But there was a shaky moment. I think I remember when they launched a venture arm or something, or they launched a company within the Perplexity like umbrella, and everyone was saying at the time very bearish.
Which I don't think is is that a bad thing?
I mean, it just takes focus off your mission.
Nvidia
right?
has Ventures.
Yeah, but they're kind of sorted because it's probably I think it is the most valuable company in the world.
True.
Like
no, I rest my case.
Okay.
No, you're right.
Yeah, and they are,
focus Perplexity. God,
but
why are you building out venture arm? What's the point?
They need to focus, right? Like, they're in an AI arms race, neck and neck with OpenAI and Google.
Neck and neck.
But they were
never neck and neck.
Arguably, they were in the conversation maybe a year and a half ago. They had a huge.
They were in the conversation.
You just said
they
were your like You use them over OpenAI?
Yeah, but my opinion doesn't matter.
They were never neck and neck. Okay, well look, I think they were. I think they were in the conversation.
I'm some nobody knows European tech bro who doesn't. He has no.
With a Gile on today as well. Is that new?
The conversation. No.
Is that a new Gile?
No, I just thought I'd put it on.
I've not seen it.
It's a bit chilly in the office today.
Is it? Yeah. Ola, what's going on? It's a bit chilly, Luke says.
Turn the heating on.
Because you got no sleeves, mate. Guy wears a vest and says he's cold.
Dan Jones would like this.
Dan Jones.
Do you like this?
Dan would approve of that. I know he would. He's a huge fan of Giles. Back to Perplexity.
I don't think I've ever seen that man not wear a gilet.
He does like a gilet.
Then again, I've only ever really met him 3 or 4 times. Anyway.
Yeah,
no
can we
Dan Jones
we can talk about Dan Jones later. Perplexity dropped advertising as it warned it will hurt trust in AI. Leading startups have recently embraced sponsors as they search for revenue. I was surprised to see this. If I'm just fresh take off the bat.
I think they just want to.
Before I've not even fully read this thing yet. Fresh take off the bat. I think this is a stab at relevance.
Yeah. I was going to say I think they just want a headline in the FT.
Honestly, I agree.
Guys, fair. You got to do it. Sometimes you just have to do it. The executives of the company said it had no plans to pursue advertising further.
You know that meme where this is kind of harsh, but that meme where it's got.
Can't believe we got to the point of stabbing Perplexity.
It's got someone over here and then a group of people over here, and this person's like, hey, that thing over there's you shouldn't be doing that, or that sucks. And then the person from here, one of the people in the groups gets really large. And it's a massive thumbs up to the other person. And the next clip is they're just back in their huddle, not talking to them. Kind of feels like one of those moments. I'm not gonna lie. I need to find that meme later and we can reference it.
You should post that.
But it does feel a bit I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah, a little bit of that, I think. I don't know. Maybe let's actually read it. To be fair.
You know, look, they are kind of they're actioning on the standard, business advice is zig when others zag.
Is that standard advice?
Yeah, that's pretty kind of textbook business. Zig when others zag. It's OpenAI last week began testing advertising on its core product. They're doing ads for free subscriptions.
Just I feel the zig was that it's a bit
obviously Claude said no ads, whatever. It's now Perplexity are let's get in the game. Hey, we're not taking ads out. See you later.
Everyone's like, who the hell is that guy? Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit I'm not sure anyone's that bothered, to be honest. But I don't know. But saying that we can go a bit deeper into the article. I know that we're welcoming in our first guest very shortly.
Before we have our first guest on, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to
polymarket.com for all that.
Next on the show, or first on the show, our first guest is Ben Freeman, CEO and founder of Omnia.
We got to play the trumpet.
So long, Ben. Can you hear us? Oh, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Hold on, give us a sec. We're having some technical difficulties with
our producer is on it straight away.
We are on it. Well, this is awkward because we can't hear you. Give us a thumbs up if you're good.
You can hear it. Okay, Ben can hear us, which is great news. We can just.
You're not live yet, by the way. So
our viewers can't see you. They can only see our ugly mugs. Unfortunately, sorry viewers, can't see Ben yet.
This is annoying. It's going so smoothly.
Checking with our producer, who will sort this out momentarily.
Anyway, while we're waiting, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. We can introduce Ben just before we bring him onto the show. We mentioned earlier as we were doing the readouts, but Ben is the CEO and founder of Omnia. They're on an absolute tear. Recently, we were saying our guest announcement of Ben was one of our highest performing guest announcements. I'm not sure if the Omnia army rallied behind it, but it was it was really awesome to see. So we're super stoked to welcome Ben on. You'll have to bear with us though as we solve this technical problem that we are experiencing with our guest audio. I think you're good. Can you talk for a sec? Maybe you're. No, nothing.
This is unfortunate.
Yeah, this is rough. Very, very sad.
Apologies, Ben. I know you can hear us. We're just trying to sort this out.
Classic problem.
I know it's the European Technology Network, and for a European Technology Network, we do have quite a few technical difficulties sometimes. So apologies for that. We will try and get this sorted as fast as possible.
Yeah, maybe Ben, worth potentially joining again, like unjoining and then joining again, seeing if that works.
Cool, awesome. Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We will have this sorted shortly. Before we welcome Ben back, let me just tell you about Spectre. I want you guys to be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre at tryspectre.com. You can harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. Let's retry
Can't hear.
with Ben.
Oh no.
This is tough.
We were having problems before the show started, so I think it's a... now our screen. Ooh. This is not good. Sorry, viewers. We apologise.
We are trying to get this sorted as fast as possible for you guys.
All are working very hard.
Our producer is working insanely hard
Round
behind
the
the
clock.
scenes. There should be like a producer cam so everyone can see this, but unfortunately you cannot.
Okay, because we're I'm gonna explain what Omnia is, because then we don't have to have Ben do it when Ben does.
I
come
would
on
love
the show.
for Ben to do
I would
it.
love for Ben to do it, but let me pretend I'm Ben. That'd be quite cool.
You want to be
I
Ben.
apologise. This is going to be read off Gemini, because that's where we literally live nowadays. Founded in 2022. Do this if anything is wrong. Know if Gemini is doing anything.
I'm seeing if our viewers can see Ben or not. I don't know if they can. No, they can't. They can't.
This
This
is so awful. Founded in 2022, Ben Freeman and Ben Allen, CTO, founded Omnia. Omnia is an AI native procurement, intake, and orchestration platform. It is designed to act as the single front door for any employee wanting to buy software or services within a company. Is Gemini doing well?
Mid.
That's hilarious. The problem that it's solving in large companies, buying things often involves a mess of spreadsheets, Slack messages, and siloed approvals across finance, legal, IT, and risk items. Risk
Ben's
teams.
giving a huge thumbs up here, guys.
Yes, the solution. What does Omnia do? Omnia
Say go
automates
bigger.
these workflows. Yeah, it does. It uses AI to handle the intake, the request, orchestrate approvals, and monitor supply risk. Anything else there? Pretty good.
It's a double thumbs up from the co-founder of Omnia that you guys can't see right now.
Target market. God, you've got some amazing customers. The platform is built for mid-market to large enterprise. High-profile customers include Spotify, Monzo, Typeform, Wise, and the Adecco Group.
Mate, those are some crazy
more and
names.
more
I
and
didn't
more.
see that. That's insane. Another thumbs up from Ben Freeman,
But
co-founder of Omnia.
Omnia is absolutely like on a serious tear. Just did their Series B, $50 million in late of 2025, led by Insight Partners and Costler Ventures.
I remember
Costler's
seeing
doing deals right
the cap table lineup again. Ben, insane. When we were typing up that guest announcement and just looking at who you guys have backing you, it's just globally renowned venture capitalists on the Omnia cap table, which is so awesome to see.
It's very cool.
Just doing a quick check with our producer to see if we are.
This is so hard. Doing a one-sided conversation is really tough. Ben,
We're
we
so
really
sorry, Ben,
apologise.
as
We'll
well.
have to,
Yeah.
We'll have to find some other time to
We're-
get you back
we're
on if we
so-
can't get this working.
We are incredibly sorry. Just checking. We've got like a rough time.
While we're waiting, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, online payments, expense management, and corporate cards, all-in-one platform. Go to airwallex.com. This is really tough. This is very annoying.
Apologies, Ben. I think.
Should we let Ben go?
Yeah, I think maybe we're 6 minutes in. You want to stay? Okay. Ben says he's staying. What a legend, Ben. Thank you so much for bearing with us. We apologize.
Never had this happen before. It's so annoying.
Maybe can you try again? Let's see. Okay. Let me just see if I can change something on my side. We're going to try and go analog with something. I just need to get. We're going to go old school. We're going to try and go old school real quick on this. Let me just see if this works. This is not our usual thing we do, but let me just see if it works.
Oh, you're trying to go on.
Yeah, I'll go on manually.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, I think. Does this work?
There's an echo, but I can hear you.
No.
I still can't hear Ben.
No?
Come on.
How long's the... Can we have a few minutes, but...
It's weird. I've got volume. Volume looks good.
Is your volume on your laptop on?
Yeah. I can see Ben speaking and I can't hear you, man. This is so annoying. The analog ain't working. I'm not sure we're gonna get it. I'm just conscious of your time, Ben. You know, you've got an insanely cool company to be running, but you sat here with two guys who can't hear you.
Trying to figure out a live stream,
which we're incredibly sorry about. We
Do you have? Wait. Do we have Ben's email?
Yeah. He's on the invite.
Okay. Did I? No. Okay. I just thought I'd maybe put the wrong link in or something.
No. Yeah, look, I think Ben, maybe we might have to try and reschedule this, mate. I'm so sorry. We just don't want to waste any of more of your time, and we're not sure we're going to get there. I think this maybe if we can reschedule or something, it would be cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can email you. Yeah. On the thread. Cool, man. Okay. Look, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for joining us, and so sorry. We're just not sure we're going to get there today, but we'll try and sort this so next time
we'll get you back on ASAP.
Yeah. Thank you, dude. Thank you for joining us anyway.
See you soon.
Appreciate it, man. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Unfortunate.
That was unfortunate.
That's really rough.
We can, Luke and I'm just thinking for the stream as well. We can maybe just talk to some. Huh? Can you WhatsApp?
He said, I'm free for the next hour, so ideally let's try do this.
Oh,
My
cool.
mobile is... I'm not going to read that out. If WhatsApp is easier.
Do not read out Ben's mobile. I'm just going to check.
Can we get him on WhatsApp?
I don't think that'll work.
No, it's just come and work with us. If you've got any work to do, viewers, get some time done now. Get it done.
Let me just go on.
We have some time before the news.
I'm just checking for our lineup. Okay, we have
we have a bit of time.
Yeah, so from 12:15 to our next guest is coming on at 12:30, so we have 20 minutes. I think maybe for now, Luke and I just maybe can go over some news, and we can try and just fix the guest audio problem in the background as we're working on that. We're just relaying some comms to our technical team, who are
There's one person
who are hands-on right now trying to fix this problem.
SurrealDB posted about us, which was very nice.
Oh, thank
Thanks.
you, SurrealDB. It was a pleasure to host you both the other day, and
Toby
congratulations
and
on your raise.
Also, we go on some news.
Let's do it. Well, we can go back to the social media one for now, and we can just go over this. We can just discuss it. I don't have to bring the article up anymore. But so as we were saying, we didn't. I don't think we even got that far into it. The case comes as social media platforms face a reckoning over whether they will suffer legal consequences from claims their products.
We're on Perplexity ads.
Oh yeah, sorry, we're on Perplexity. I don't think we did this though, did we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Oh, we did. Sorry,
Yeah.
My bad. San Francisco-based Perplexity was one of the first generative AI companies to introduce ads in 2024. As we mentioned earlier, they were the first to do it, and they also did it pretty well, running tests in which sponsored answers were displayed under the chatbot's answers. Interesting. So they probably had the revenue model. Why? I don't understand why this wasn't brought up more when the whole ads debacle was being discussed for Anthropic and OpenAI.
It's weird because it feels like they've done a full 180 on what they on what they obviously were very bullish on a year ago, which again just highlights the fact that I feel like they are literally just trying to get a headline and stay relevant type thing.
But that's why
that's not the only reason, but I really think that is a big reason. But they basically said, so Perplexity executives believe, this is a full 180, Perplexity executives believe that if users see ads, they will begin doubting everything. The AI says, which ruins the value proposition of a truth-based search engine, which.
But they're the pioneers of ads.
Which completely disregards everything that they've been working on and everything they released. It seems really silly.
Yeah.
If they came out and said, "Hey, we're back in OpenAI. Ads are great," kind of thing, I'd be like, everyone they would still. I don't know if they get a headline, that's the thing. But I assume they'd still be in some form of kind of trad media outlet.
Yeah.
Just purely because of the hype around ads in LLMs. And, they could kind of point it in the positive direction. But it just seems weird to me that they've actually done a full 180 and what they kind of, maybe they just haven't gone as well as they hoped.
I just can't understand why.
Maybe they've seen the backlash from OpenAI and they've said, oh, like actually maybe, we could get an edge by kind of completely, disregarding ads and LLMs.
Yeah, but that's it. I think it just goes back to it was maybe a headline, right?
Bro, they need money, man. They need so much
they do
money.
200 mil. Was that ARR?
Yeah.
They did 200 mil ARR and they're valued at 18 billion.
Yeah, but okay, look, that's great revenue. Congrats. But it's to be a leader in the hyperscale.
Yeah. Well, they're product focused. They're not lab research. So they're not allowed to have that ARR valuation multiple.
True.
So I think that I don't know. I think we haven't heard of them for months, and all of a sudden they're like, even though we were the pioneers of ads, we're going to rip it out and we're going to do.
To be fair, I also found that the Perplexity generates the majority of its 200 million in annual revenue from subscriptions.
Yeah.
Proving a viable path outside of traditional ad revenue. So maybe it's just not working for them.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is. However, the company, which also offers paid subscriptions, began phasing out the ads late last year. On Tuesday, executives at the company said it had no plans to pursue advertising further. A user needs to believe that it's the best possible answer to keep using the product and will be paying for it, Perplexity executive said. Perplexity ads were labeled and the company said they had no bearing on the chatbot's response. So that's the worry, right? That's the worry where it's the worry is Anthropic's ad that they did, the ad for the ads that was
they don't get the right answer, but you're going to get a paid answer.
Yeah. Which is obviously insanely bad for whatever platform or subscription that you're using. As Luke and I mentioned, it comes as leading AI groups have followed Perplexity in introducing advertising to start making money from free users and appease investors as they burn through cash to train and sustain the large language models that underpin popular products. OpenAI last week began testing advertising on its core product ChatGPT for users who do not pay for a subscription. It has a similar model where labeled ads appear below answers. It is emphasized that ChatGPT's answers are not influenced by these sponsors. We all know how amazingly well that went down. But I do kind of feel like, the bear case for OpenAI from a social sort of hive mind perspective is changing a little bit. I can't remember who I saw recently. It was from a tweet from Emily Sandberg. She had a scoop on the VP of product design of one of the VPs of product at Instagram left to join OpenAI. And it's funny because in a cool way, I was trying to find a article or like an X post or a LinkedIn post around that, but the only thing that was there that he announced it on was Instagram. So it was like an Instagram scoop, which,
So
to be fair
weird.
to Emily, is like an insane.
Instagram
That's like
scoop.
alpha access via Instagram, which is really funny. But yeah, I don't know. The tide seem to be turning a little bit. It also mentioned that Google has advertising in AI mode as well as in its AI overview summaries on traditional search. But the search giant has so far held off introducing ads into Gemini chatbot, mainly because, as we all know, it doesn't need to. It's Google's ads business is like an infinite money glitch. I can't see a world in which it would need to introduce ads into Gemini. But one of the interesting things that they mention here is the AI overview summaries on traditional search. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've, since having that, and I can't remember what article this was that would discuss it. It might have been from the FT, but since having the AI overview summaries in traditional search, I can't really remember the last time I'm like clicking on links.
Yeah, I use them a lot.
Because like you search for the thing and you just get like, which is, but and now I'm thinking about it out loud, is interesting because surely that is in a way cannibalizing its own revenue from ads. If you search for a thing, it gives you like the AI overview first and then the paid slots for, whatever like people are trying to advertise.
But then again, I think you've got the argument that I assume a lot of the advertisers will be like, oh, usage must be down because more people are searching on apps, on Gemini or ChatGPT, and therefore your usage must be down. We want to pay less for an ad. They then go, oh no, usage is the same, if not up, because we've now integrated AI into traditional search, which is what everyone's been using anyway. So, you're actually getting a more premium service for doing that because does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like they're not losing users because of AI, because more people are using AI.
Yeah.
Because I still search on Google and to get an AI response. I know I'm going to get an AI response and therefore I still search on Google. Sometimes I go to the Gemini app. It's fairly similar. Obviously they don't have ads, I guess it's not similar, but if I'm searching for a product, I will go to Google.
Yeah.
If I search for, how many bananas are there on the earth at the moment? Like I'm going to go to AI.
yeah.
If I search for something a bit rogue, I'm not going.
I wonder
to
how many
Google.
bananas are on the earth right now. That's a good question.
I thought
Luke.
about that.
One of the more rogue things to. Is that just off the dome? Yeah.
Yeah, it's straight on. I
You
don't
do
know why
like
I
a
thought
banana, to be
about
fair. Getting a little bit more like so Perplexity valued at 18 billion with a reported 200 million in annualized revenues. Perplexity makes the majority of its money from subscriptions. It offers free services as well as tiers ranging from 20 to 200 a month. It has more than 100 million users.
Isn't the free service awful?
I haven't used it. I
feel
know I
like
have
I've
used
seen-
it, but
I feel
ages
like
ago.
I've seen things saying that it's awful.
I have used it, but quite a while ago.
Should we just check in, producer? Ola, how's it going? Not good.
Okay.
Great.
I'm just on the mic and earphones.
This isn't good.
Let's just checking on the next guest. Okay. That's a problem. Can we look? Why don't we're going to try and solve this real quick, folks. Can we put up like the loading screen maybe, and then we can just see if we can come back to Wait, am I meant to be able to hear you? Okay.
I can hear you. I don't know if it's just through my mic or not.
Wait, can we just see if it works for me before we go live? Oh, wait, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the European Technology Network.
It's still Thursday the 19th of February.
It's still. How long were we down? A couple of minutes? 10 minutes. We
Sorry,
were
everyone.
experiencing some technical difficulties. We think we've solved them all now. Apologies for our viewers. We had a few people in the stream. Then we were getting ready for Ben from Omnia, also Barney from Clio. But we unfortunately those interviews are not going to go ahead. We still have 5 guests for the rest of the day, which we're excited to discuss and talk about with them. But those particular conversations, unfortunately, we will have to reschedule just because,
The game is the game.
We couldn't support them. However, we can move on. We've got.
Have we got Damien coming on?
Damien is coming on. Yeah, just not. He's not coming on for like a little bit. I'm just checking out the screens on Luke and I, right? Yeah, cool.
Let's go through some tweets. I'm just putting a tweet out at the moment, so bear with. What are you typing? By the way, people can hear us typing.
Oh, really? It's just about the Stream Deck. To sort the Stream Deck out,
cool.
maybe.
Right, let's do this.
There is maybe one thing we just have to sort quickly. If you can just look at your WhatsApp for our beautiful viewers before we get going. Just on the news-related piece.
Anyway,
I think we've got Damien coming in right now anyway, so we can crack on with Damien. Just seeing if Damien can... Hey, Damien, how's it going? Can you hear us? You can hear us. We can't hear you, though.
I can hear Damien.
You can.
Are you in VDO?
Yeah.
Damien, how's it going? No, of course. We've had a few technical difficulties today. But we're good now, I think. Can you hear Damien?
I can't hear Damien, but you can, which is a great sign. I'm over the moon about that. I'm also slightly annoyed because I would love to hear Damien. Do you want to maybe just like intro the conversation for now, and then we can maybe see if I can get some volume going.
Sort yourself out. Okay, Damien. Probably worth having an intro from you about kind of what Toyo is, the pivot that I kind of read about, and the round that you guys literally just closed.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, we're announcing our $4.3 million raise with Frontline Ventures leading it, and handful of angels that we've worked with before. So it's terrific having some angels that were with us for one of our last companies that we exited to Workday nearly 15 years ago.
Nice.
And we started our journey off in voice AI. I actually spotted you've got the Poly AI folks coming on later, which is terrific.
Yeah.
And then one of the OGs in voice AI. And I think we couldn't have got to where we got to with the pivot and Toyo without that. So Toyo is really the operating system for agents, and how we for your business, and how we got there is we just started, using Claude Code to do all engineering, and then we started just rolling it out into every other part of the organization, especially GTM, marketing, sales, and we just started seeing just this insane productivity boost. And I think like many companies trying out, coding agents and Claude Code, we started off by vibe coding our own kind of internal SaaS software. Mm-hmm. And it was a funny thing because we vibe coded a CRM that we loved, and we started using it for a bit, and we were like, well, this is cool. This is a CRM we wanted, but it's just us using a CRM. again. Like the AI has just built another CRM for us slow humans to use. And so then we actually just started, well, let's just use the agents to do the work. And we realized, well, they don't need a CRM UI to, like, an agent doesn't need to be using a UI that's built for a human to make it easy for a human to use. So we ripped that all out and we just went down to kind of first principles and just how do we get the agents to actually do the work? How do we get them to use a browser? How do we get them to be able to do stuff in a database? And we started using this internally. And we were still working on the voice AI project, and we realized, you know what, this is the thing, because every person we spoke to said, you know what, I need this in my business. I've been trying to automate stuff with AI, but it's hard to plug all the systems together, or it's still not an automated experience. I'm still kind of like telling the AI or the LLM, do this, do that, and kind of coaching it along. And it's not actually an automated system that's working for me.
Interesting. I'm super interested about the pivot and kind of where you were before the raise and kind of going from, you know, voice agents to kind of moving into, you know, everything else. It seems like you pivoted like a lot and there was a lot of things going on. How does that work in terms of, you know, were you guys just trying to figure out where the market pool was? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, that is the job for a startup at the start, right? Is finding product market fit. And we are, you know, big fans of voice AI and love it and think it's an incredible modality. But it's also still nascent. And we're talking about live voice agents. So we're working on live voice agents. When you look at the growth of the kind of OG companies like 11 Labs, and there's a lot of offline audio, like media generation, right? Poly AI is probably the biggest success story in real-time agents. I think a lot of businesses are still trying to work out how to use voice AI beyond customer service and call centers. We were trying to put it into kind of more SaaS applications, like how you actually operate a SaaS app with voice agents and allowing developers to integrate that into their apps. Maybe a little bit early or ahead of times of that, and maybe try to, we weren't finding a pull. We were having to push, kind of going, hey, try voice AI in your SaaS, try voice AI here. And I think, though, we took those learnings and that vision that we have about voice AI being a modality, and that is part of Toyo. And so one of the things I'd love to encourage everyone to do, we've opened up our wait list. If you go on and sign up, you give us a bit of information on your website. Oh, sorry, by the way, okay, it's gone now. I had some feedback for a second, but it's gone. And then the first experience you'll have is our voice agent calls you. And it talks to you and it interviews you about your job and your business. And we found previously, when we were enabling other companies with voice agents, when you get someone chatting with a voice agent about themselves, about their work, it's such a much more natural experience. And we've been so blown away since we announced that 2 days ago. We've had a huge number of people actually do that onboarding, and the average call time is over 8 minutes. And so people are really engaging with this experience we've got. And that's going to mean when we start opening up people into the platform, you're going to come into our platform not just with a blank text box, kind of tell the agent what to do. It's going to come pre-populated with automated agents and workflows set up for you to help you with those areas of your business, like repetitive parts of your workflow or things that you haven't got people to take care of in your business. It's going to help you actually automate those.
We've been talking a lot about how agents are now kind of autonomous in the fact that they now aren't needing to be prompted to go and do something. They kind of just go and do it, right? And a lot of people using OpenClaw now, as of literally like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, they'll go to bed, they'll wake up in the next morning and their agent will have built something just purely out of kind of like agency. How do you feel that, you know, how do you think in the future work will change with, you know, these huge changes that are happening like daily with agents?
I mean, so one of the reasons we're focusing on SMEs and founders and owner operators is, you know, whenever you chat to someone in an SME business, like they're never relaxed. There's always shit going wrong, stuff happening. And the problem being the owner of that business is when, you know, something doesn't happen, like you're the one doing the accounts at the weekend. You're the one following up these things. And so we think people in this situation have a lot on their plate, and a lot of stuff which is automatable, right? Because a lot of it comes through your email or comes through your CRM or some other system of record. We really think so. In our experience, when we started automating stuff, and we gave the agent a web browser, we gave the agent the MCPs, we gave it its own computer, like OpenClaw has done, and we gave it the goals and information, it started doing real work. And I think that kind of, we definitely internally, and I think many others are having, especially people playing with OpenClaw, had a bit of an AGI moment, right? Because it's just, it's not just like replying to you, it's actually just going off and doing the thing and coming back and making good judgments. Like, with our voice and onboarding, there's a lot of nuance about your business. If you then go and ask, hey, can you go and find 50 leads for me on LinkedIn or whatever, it's actually really good at making that judgment now if you give it enough context. So, our view is that we're going to have these automated agents that are running every hour, every morning for you, and they'll be doing work and delivering it to you. And as they get better, you'll just be going, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great, without any corrections.
One thing that I feel is quite weird actually now that, humans aren't going to be the ones, like kind of interacting with the work. They're just going to become like validators. How do you feel like the future of work is going to change? I feel like it's literally just going to be like, as you do, you wake up in the morning and you have things to validate and say yes or no to, and that's kind of your job done, right? How do you feel things will change for the kind of the normal like white collar worker with agents?
I mean, I feel like this is a very fundamental human question, is like, when things are easy or you can do more, what do humans do? And I think time and time again, human drive and ingenuity has said, we do more. And I think we even see this now. You take coding agents, and engineering is at the forefront of automation with AI right now. Like, engineers are working harder than ever now because suddenly they can do all those things that they thought were going to take months or years. So I think, our goal is to take all of that kind of drudge work and boring work, whether it's kind of filtering through emails, going through leads. And I mean, it's not, the LLMs don't have taste, right? They have like everyone gets the same LLM with the same kind of taste, and you can prompt it a bit. I think it's still very important for humans to be, have the agency to be directing, but there's no reason for humans to be sitting around doing this kind of really, really dull. Like, think of so much human work as copying and pasting stuff between SaaS systems, right?
Yeah.
Like, this stuff can be automated and directed by humans. So we think there's just like a lot of stuff there that's ready to be automated and work is going to change. That's probably going to be the hardest thing. I think there's still a lot for humans to do, but what you do is going to change quite a lot.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to be at like genuine the forefront of the way that work changes is quite cool. I wanted to touch on the, there's, I don't know how involved you are with the X kind of debates and all of that kind of stuff, but the SaaS apocalypse is like the kind of thing that everyone is talking about. How do you feel that, where kind of SaaS is going? Obviously that's been a huge thing since kind of 2010 really, where, VCs have been flooding billions of dollars into SaaS. Where do you think that money is going to go? Where do you think these companies will go if they don't kind of pivot into like agents? Everyone should be working on agents.
Yeah,
really
I'm convinced like SaaS is not a growth business anymore. I think it's completely like the SaaS that helped a person do some work, and I'm going to kind of call it productivity SaaS, and I'd throw CRMs in there.
Yeah.
As in like, I use a CRM to do sales and help me in my day. I think, there's going to be like with all of these changes, like they're not going to disappear tomorrow. And most companies are going to be very slow to adapt. And many companies are just going to say like, we're going to keep the system of record and just integrate with it. But like, if you're starting new today, like I don't think you're going to be buying CRM unless you're buying one which is a very agentic CRM and has all this stuff built in. But SaaS is for slow humans. Like it's a pretty UI for humans to like understand how, like the agents don't need that. They just use the database, they just use the website. They just, they need to go and find stuff. They just get the work done and work out how to do it. So I think, there's a lot of critical SaaS that's going to stay around. The SaaS that runs your like, your water systems or like industrial systems, right? Let's not replace that with vibe coding.
Yeah.
But I think the nature of software is going to completely change. And that's part of what we're doing is when you come into our system, like if you do need a nice UI to see your leads, it will just build that for you and just show it to you. So the agent can show you what it's been doing. But the software can just be built on demand. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all SaaS piece of software. And I think the problem for these SaaS companies now is previously they didn't spend so much money on building this asset, which was the software, because software was expensive to build. And now suddenly this asset they have is essentially you can rebuild it for a 10th or 100th of the cost. So it's suddenly devalued that asset that they've got. And I think that's part of the big issue with the SaaS apocalypse. It's kind of big cause of it right now too.
Yeah, we talked to two, so one founder and then one VC, one at Clove, like a finance, like a wealth management kind of platform, and Andreas at Atomico. And they had differing views on what's going on in the markets at the moment. Obviously, there was a huge kind of like correction and sell-off a few days ago, and stocks aren't doing very well. And the reason why is because of all this backlash with OpenClaw and everything, and people saying you can kind of just vibe code a bank. That was what Andreas said, and obviously he kind of talked a little bit more with the nuance behind that. What do you think the sell-off is is there backing behind that? Do you think that there's a reason for that, or do you think brand and the ability to understand a business and being integrated within that business, that's where the kind of key kind of differentiator is, if that makes sense?
Yeah, exactly. I think where SaaS software is, I'd call it kind of critical software or niche VMS software. That understanding of how your water treatment plant works, right? You're not going to vibe code that, but the productivity category, I think, is the category where we all could tell you how we want the UI for our basic CRM to work. Everyone knows it and everyone gets the same one. I think those guys are at risk. Like, there's no special customer relationship or customer kind of knowledge there because it's just general knowledge, CRMs as a category. Yeah.
Interesting. Because we had those two on and one was like, you can just vibe code a bank, but then the other one was like, no, there's like more nuance to it. There's it's all about the brand and the fact that they're integrated within the business. And we talked to a few founders at the beginning of 26 talking about the importance of integration within a business. How do you guys look at integrating within that business and making sure, you aren't just that kind of external partner, building a ton of stuff, you're actually building brand, building relationship, because realistically that's, I feel, the delta between a company now that will win and won't is your brand and is your kind of your pull towards a customer.
Yeah, and obviously integration with your current systems that you might not want to throw out tomorrow, even though you've got a view that you'd like to replace them long term, is super important for agents, and being able to get information for your existing system and being able to take action. Maybe the most basic one is your email, right? You might not want to throw away your email, but it's a really important place for the agent to get information, do things, send emails. So, I mean, one of the magic about, so Toyo is essentially a coding agent harness. It's called the power of Claude Code, like OpenClaw does, running on a secure computer in the cloud for your business. So, the OpenClaw guy, Peter, I mean, his gift to the world is showing, hey, look, just give the agent a computer. Just give it access to this stuff. Just give it access to your email. I think everyone was too scared to do that before. The big labs weren't ready to do it. He went in and did it and showed, like, this is the power you get out of agents if you do that. And so our mission is to really, and many people, I think now that is an idea, like, give agents more, they can do more. There's a lot of security challenges and privacy challenges around that. And it's our mission to solve those for our users. But by giving the agent a computer it can work on, when you say, hey, can you integrate with my Salesforce? The great thing is it can just go and do it and work out how to do it. So the challenge of integration isn't a massive project anymore. The agents can figure it out. And I think this is what people are experiencing with OpenClaw is it not only does stuff for you, but it improves itself as it goes on. And I think that's like we're talking about with customized software and vibe code software. That's the difference as well. You don't vibe code it once and then you're done. You keep improving it as you go. This is really the future we see, which is, agents and software which is custom for you and changes and improves itself as time goes on.
Yeah, and just one final question. I know we've just got 1 minute left, but what's the appetite from enterprise? You mentioned, there is a lot of appetite, but then you've also got those SMEs who are kind of stuck in their old ways and integrated within their SaaS products. How do you have to convince them, or is it like, no, we need this to stay alive?
We're gonna start with SMEs because we think, and especially tech first founders and SMEs, because we think they're just ready to try something. And also there is often one person in the business who's overwhelmed at the top, right? And if they can WhatsApp it and say, build me a new website, that is just a kind of mind-blowing experience. And enterprises will follow. But I think that's later this year, probably before we start thinking about this. I think there's a lot of security concerns for them and integration and kind of team collaboration stuff, which they need, which we'll get to. But I think there's so much value to provide to SMEs because we're not saying use this new complicated SaaS product. We're saying, chat to this thing, call it, talk to it on voice, iMessage it, and it just does stuff for you.
Yeah, as you do in your normal life anyway. Dude, thank you so much for spending the time. We really appreciate it. And Ronan can't actually hear you. That's why he hasn't been asking any questions.
I'm so sorry, Damien. But I'm not sure if you can hear me, but we've just been trying to sort some issues on my audio side.
He's not just mute.
No worries.
He's not just sitting there. But anyway, look, thank you so much. Keep us updated.
We had a great conversation. I'm sure you'll hear later.
Good stuff. Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Cheers,
really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys. Bye.
Yeah. Next on the show, we have Jamie McFarlane, CEO and founder of the Creator Fund. Jamie is live. Can you hear us, Jamie? I can. Can you?
I can't hear you, unfortunately, Jamie, but I'm sure this is going to be a compelling conversation.
Anyway, to be heard. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I'll take the conversation while you sort your life out.
We can do charades.
I'm present, but I'm just sorting this out.
Yeah, he's just there to look pretty. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. I think it's worth explaining exactly what Creator Fund is. We did a bit of a bio right at the beginning of the show, but worth an intro from you, and we can jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good to be here. So Creator Fund is based on the belief that European universities attract the world's top talent across all the verticals that matter. Like if you're in China, in India, America, France, and you want to innovate in AI, robotics, quantum, materials, biotech, you come to a European university. And the question is how do we harness that talent to build this continent's next generation of massive technology businesses? So I started the firm back in 2019. I'd seen a similar model in America, seen how many of the biggest technology companies in the world came out of American campuses, started really small in London, Oxford, and Cambridge. And over the last 6 years, we've scaled to 30 universities in 10 countries. We're deep inside the laboratories where the most interesting things are happening. And we write first checks into PhDs, help them get businesses off the ground across deep tech categories.
First question off the bat is about the amount of people starting companies. I've seen a few tweets about, the amount of companies that are coming out of like a Stanford or a lot of, the kind of semi-technical and technical US universities. Do you find the volume of businesses being started out of European universities less, or is that just not a thing?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty comparable. I'd say the big difference between Europe and America is in America you have undergrads that look like Mark Zuckerberg building marketplaces, social networks. We don't have that in Europe. I think there's not that same culture of it happening at the undergrad MBA level. But PhD company creation in Europe is as strong, if not stronger, than what you see in the US. I think there are it breaks down into two categories. You've got kind of the major hubs, like you cannot walk down a street in Cambridge without bumping into a founder starting something. Same in Zurich, same in Munich. And then what we're really good at Europe is places that don't necessarily have the same history of startup creation, but they're really good in one field. So Glasgow, one of our best companies is a chemistry company there because one of the world's best chemistry labs is in Glasgow. We've backed an unbelievable fertility company that came out of the Max Planck Institute in Göttingen. Hard word to pronounce, actually. I was kind of, it's one of those German umlauts. But again, it's like a center of fertility, world-leading fertility university globally. So there's a lot, both specialist and in hubs. I just think it tends to skew more deep tech.
Yeah, we've talked to, we had Jeff Morris Jr., general partner at Chapter One, on a few weeks ago, and we were talking about consensus and how non-consensus investments is dead. Everyone's kind of following. You've got the kind of divergence between smaller solo GPs and then the larger, the largest VC firms raising billions and billions and more, and you've got this kind of messy middle. Where do you feel that you guys are doing something very different, because it is naturally going to be non-consensus, because
Sure.
You're literally putting in first check. Do you feel that is like the major kind of differentiator of Create a Fund? Where do you see the kind of the delta between you and like another, fund of the same size?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that synopsis, right? Like, I think the emerging manager part of the European ecosystem is really interesting right now. And you've got people who are doing very specialist stuff, bringing pretty unique value add to their companies and looking for something very different. I mean, I like the phrase, I don't want to be in the messy middle, but I agree. It's kind of like at the smaller end, it's more specialist. And, we've got a very, very clear thesis. Like, Europe's PhDs often come with 3-4 years of commercial experience. They've mastered a technical field. They are where huge businesses are going to be built. And they've got that fusion of technical experience to tackle a massive world problem with understanding something from industry, and they bring that together. And we want to be the absolute number one fund for them. So, we're on the bigger side of small, I'd say. We've got about 80 million pounds under management. We've been going for about 6 years. We've backed 60 companies. We're really proud of our portfolio, but we want to be absolute specialists in what we do. And I also think at the smaller end, you're just scrappier, you're hungrier. I mean, we fight really hard. Like, when we learn something interesting is happening at the Technical University of Copenhagen, we're on a plane there the next day. And I think that also comes from being at the smaller part, specialist part of the market.
I can now hear, by the way, I've been given the gift of audio.
It's fine, shut up. I'll ask the next question.
Luke's been on a roll.
This needs to be a great question, right? Because I was listening to your previous interview. This is a question that's been stored up over two interviews.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I've been released from my vow of silence.
This better be a good one.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, like, the messy middle and the you've got the mega funds on one end, and we have this like hyper specialized sort of side on the other. Maybe the mega funds are deploying a lot of capital over a breadth of individuals, and then you have the opposite end, which is hyper specialized investments in what you describe right now, right? These PhDs, they have world-renowned talent in that one niche that they work in. You just mentioned then, like, if something's popping off in Copenhagen, you guys are on a plane there immediately. How does this sourcing technique work at that end, right? Because I'm sure, A16Z probably get a load of inbound, right?
Sure.
But you guys are out in the field.
Yeah. So that would be the kind of core thing to say about the European university landscape. It's very dispersed, right? So, I gave you the example earlier of like chemistry in Glasgow. There are hubs like that right across this continent of really interesting things happening. Neuroscience-based AI in Eindhoven. And so the only way to find those deals right across Europe is to kind of have a decentralized model. So what we have at Create a Fund is we have 45 PhDs who are members of our team. We spend 3 months over the summer recruiting them. We do it in a really quantitative way. We track where are papers being published, where are patents being filed. Anyone can tell you the kind of best AI professor who's going to be the kind of one in their 30s that's going to be the best in 5 years, and they're seeing really interesting citation growth. Where were companies last year that we weren't there, or we want to double down in? And so we map out Europe and say, look, these are the 30 universities, these are the 30 programs, these are the 30 professors that we want proximity to. And then we go out and recruit PhDs on those programs to join our fund. They share in the carried interest of the fund. They get an incentive every time we do a deal that they source. We put them through a 20-part VC training program. The idea being, you might be a really smart PhD in AI, but you want to learn how to put together a cap table, negotiate legals. How do you start a company yourself? And we think this program now is kind of Europe's most powerful platform for learning how to turn your PhD into a business. So we've just wrote a signed a term sheet last Friday. It's the fourth one of our students that's been through the program. They've worked with us for 2-3 years, and then they're building a business off the back of Creator Fund. And so like we see that as a massive multiplier of also generating our own deal flow through these really smart students. They're also on the ground and source stuff. It's also why people want to, take our money. I mentioned the fertility deal earlier. Really top tier team, unbelievable PhD out of the Francis Crick. Top professor in Germany, biotech management consultant. Like, you have to win that kind of deal. But when we're showing up, we're bringing 3-4 of our PhDs that are literally doing PhDs in the exact field that the company's pursuing. So we're having a better conversation. We're understanding what they're doing. And often people are recruiting directly from our students for talent too. So that kind of decentralized model is how we find stuff. It's not inbound driven. It's very much this kind of people embedded inside the laboratories that matter across the continent.
That's so clever. I love that. I wanted to ask where the kind of main focus is. Obviously you have such a breadth of kind of touch points between all the universities. Is it quite a wide breadth of companies being started, or is there kind of one natural theme that you guys are really just seeing all the time?
So we invest across 5 sectors. So we invest in biotech, materials, physics, AI, and I'd say it's fairly evenly distributed right now across AI and robotics in terms of what we see top PhDs coming out of ETH Zurich, Technical University of Munich, and Cambridge pursuing. But there's been a bit of a correction in biotech over the last year or so. The biotech market's a bit harder, so we're seeing kind of less there. But I'd say that those 5 sectors are pretty representative of where interesting stuff is coming out of European universities. It's pretty specialized. So, we see a lot of robotics out of ETH. We see more biotech out of somewhere like Karolinska in Stockholm. But, it's fairly well distributed across those, with some cyclical impact as things like the biotech industry reacts to it being a tougher public market environment for those companies.
Nice. That's awesome. And talk to me about Loki, about the exit that you guys had recently. Obviously, like a massive, I think that was your first. Is that right? It was the first exit of the fund.
We had our second exit.
Second exit. Okay.
It was our second exit, but it was the exit that essentially returned our first fund. It's a great story. An unbelievable founder. He's very shy. So I'm gonna get an angry text from him tonight when I name drop him. The founder was called Jack Davis, and we discovered his computer science thesis on LinkedIn. And essentially what his thesis was he had neural rendered a tennis match between Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer. And essentially, when you watch it on the BBC, you can see it from one angle. He'd rendered it so you could experience it from any angle. And 3 of my PhDs in related fields were like, you've got to meet this guy. What he's managed to achieve. It's a 6-second video, right? So it's hard. He's brilliant, but it's hard immediately in a 6-second video to understand is it really brilliant or quite brilliant. And they were like, you've got to meet this guy. And so we met Jack, and I'm sure he was a bit like, why are these people cold reaching out to me on LinkedIn? Came into the office, and there was just some cold, steely nerve to him, right? Like, understated guy, very humble, but just had that grit of okay, this guy is technically impressive. He had a background in finance before, so it's pretty commercial. And we wrote a first check into him pretty much off the basis of that 6-second video and getting to know him. We then brought in a co-founder for him because we've got a really extensive talent network. He essentially, the business was kind of gaming sector focused. We brought in this amazing guy from the gaming industry, also a PhD in Oxford, a guy called Eugene Yi. He came in as CEO. We match made them. And they then executed. They found a really smart niche, which was gaming companies have loads of 3D assets. So if you're trying to build a video game of Paris, you probably have 80 Eiffel Towers from different time periods, night, day. If it's an apocalyptic, Eiffel Tower in a state of collapse. And they need to be searched and tagged. So if you're a game building games, you can quickly find the right asset in the right moment and build it. So they just executed well. They sold them to right customers. And there was a really good acquisition offer on the table from one of their core customers, Epic Games, and they sold, and it was a very meaningful impact for both founders. It's actually the founder Jack, when we did the deal, it was his first time seeing a term sheet. So I said, look, we'll go for an Italian meal. So I took him to a crappy, we didn't have much money in those days, like crappy pizza restaurant in South Kensington, I think. And we had a margarita together. And at the end of the deal, he signed the term sheet. And I think it had some marinara sauce on the pizza. And then 4 years later, when now he's much wealthier than me, took me back to the restaurant and he took me for pizza at the same restaurant to celebrate the exit. And it was quite a nice moment of going like full journey of this brilliant founder that we found from the thesis those years ago, and back to the same restaurant. We're just still serving the same pizza to celebrate the win, and they're now very happy at Epic.
That is such a sick story.
Yeah, what a cool story.
Way.
I love that.
That's,
Do you find a lot of people who don't really start, like they're not really thinking about starting a company? A lot of PhD students, you know, they're so deep into the academia, and you kind of open this world of commerciality of their skills, right, of their brain, and the ability to kind of build a company that they didn't even realize that they could build. How was that process of kind of convincing someone like uber smart to say, oh, you can actually go and start a business and like make life-changing money or whatever you want to go and do?
Yeah, I'd say you can't go from 0 to 100 in our experience. So we've been unsuccessful when we found people who have never thought of starting a company.
Yeah.
No interest in doing so. And we kind of pushed them and said, you should start something. You've got really interesting technology. You've got to be 60, 70% of the way there. Because I think, you know, what we see in PhD founders in Europe right now, we call them scientific founders, is they're very commercial. Like a lot of these people, like Jack, like Eugene, they're coming out of industry, they're coming with commercial experience, and then they're fusing the technical. It's dangerous to invest if literally someone doesn't have a commercial bone in their body and you're kind of pushing them to do this. We're really interested in, are you kind of 60% of the way there? You've built something, you know it's commercial, but you just don't know where to start, or like how much do you raise, or what do you do in the first 18 months, or how do you put together a cap table, or who do you hire, or how do you simplify your pitch so people can understand what you're doing? We're really focused on you're 60% of the way there, let's get you to 100% of the way there. And often I think like a lot of that is just like reframing. I think we've got an unhealthy history in Europe with university spin-outs over the decades where it's like, let's bring in external management. Let's take this brilliant PhD that's like, you know, found a new way to do gene sequencing and done all the work, and then bring in like a 65-year-old from industry to run it. Like that's a really unhelpful mentality. What we really want is like, how do you skill up that PhD to run the business and realize they can be CEO? And quite a lot of the work we're doing is like, they want to start the business. You just need to help them appreciate they should be the leader of this. They can be the leader of this. We're a fund that can work with them to do it. And sometimes it's a confidence thing or a you know, understanding what it looks like to be a founder thing of this can be me, and I might hire a head of sales or whoever it might be to complement me.
Nice. Love it.
So cool.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
I loved it, guys. Huge fans of the show. It's really cool what you're doing, and real pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Have a great afternoon.
You too, dude.
Just a quick one before we have our next guest on. Leave outdated business banking behind with the Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate accounts, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com.
Airwallex.com. Next on the show, Konstantin Katula, co-founder of Porters. I think I'm getting that name right. Porters. Porters uses AI-native human-in-the-loop workflows to manage tasks that are previously too sensitive or manual to automate safely. They've raised 2.7 million euros funding round led by Early Bird VC with participation from Seed Camp. Shout out to Akash and Will Bennett, our good friends at both those firms. Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me.
No, our absolute pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. I hope my intro was all right.
Perfect.
Maybe maybe we can kick off like the founding story of this. Would love to hear more.
Yeah, happy to do so. Long story short, it's I think the banking industry for a decade basically has like built slick consumer-facing apps, like super nice digital experience, but nobody really cared about the back office. Like the back office stuck in the dark ages. It's like the dirty little secret of the banks. And it's a big black hole, which like it's error-prone processes, it's spreadsheets, it's just like it's a ticking time bomb actually, like from a regulatory perspective, but also from a process perspective. And one of my co-founder and I, we had the pleasure of being early employees at a company called Upvest, basically building like trading and custody infrastructure. So if you trade via Revolut, N26, or some other players, you would use Upvest in the background of it. And we really built out a bank from scratch. No license, no tech stack, nothing. And even there, the ops department scaled it a little bit faster than we really like to. And also when looking at all of these clients, you would see like you have so many system breaks, you have so many providers everywhere, and in the ops department, everything comes together, and people just try to figure out and keep this machine running, keep these things going. And we just saw too many smart people doing the wrong kind of work, busy work, trying to fix things, and we thought there must be a better way. And then, a couple of months ago, we said, look, it's now or never, because there's also a shift when it comes to technology. Like, things are possible that weren't before, and we just had to go for it, right? And then now being backed by the guys from Early Bird, Seedcam, and some angels of the banking network, we thought it's the right momentum to take on this challenge. Yeah.
Let's go. We love that. And what, like, the funding realm for this? How is it raising the cash? Like, is there like an agentic side to this? Would love to know more about the physical product itself. Yeah, of course. So look, I think, like, when it comes to these kind of to these workflows for banks, aside for the banking back office, like, I think the financial service industry is like it's a special beast, because they're not dumb people like working there, but it's just highly regulated. So it's like implementing new tech and everything. You have to bring, like, the table stakes to bring, like, technology to these kind of players is pretty high. So yes, of course, we've been building agentic systems. Like, we just don't want to be like another workflow automation platform. But it's a perfect storm, right? Like, you have clear regulation as guardrails, what you can do, what you can't do, be it with the tech, but also in the workflow itself. And then, of course, you have the internal risk appetite of the bank, because one bank might decide to do something that the other bank deemed to be too risky. This can be from everything in their marketing offering to how do they handle certain edge cases, right? So what do they allow the customer to do? You have banks that don't even allow customers to, like, make payments to crypto platforms and stuff like that. This is really, like, then to the individual risk appetite of the bank. And in this background, you have, like, really unforecastable peaks of works coming in, right? External factors that the bank can't measure, and suddenly you have half of your operations department working the weekend trying to figure out and unblocking these kind of cases. We've seen it all in the last couple of years, and this is why we're jumping in there. So you think about us like you're a digital worker who's an expert in these processes that we're offering. So you can ask them anything, they can do any kind of task. And we do integrate quite deeply into the tech stack of the bank. I think that's the important part, to then trigger and prepare certain decisions at the right time, point in time, for the bank to take the actions on.
I was going to talk to you about integration. Mm-hmm. And how you guys, you mentioned that you integrate very deeply. I assume, like, a lot of kind of SaaS products, when they're integrating into a bank specifically, it's a kind of multi-month/year like thing to do, because there is just so much data out there. How do you guys kind of speed that up, and how do you think about integration into obviously this very highly regulated like side of the bank?
Yeah, like it is a massive, you can call it a problem or challenge. So we faced this before, right? In the previous position I mentioned, and for some of the more complex larger banks with a lot of systems, this can be a multi-month, even to a year kind of integration work. We really try to abstract these kind of knowledge bits that we got over the last couple of years to try to, like, piece our framework what makes sense. So one of the things that really extends the runway, or like it extends the time of integration to these banks, if you offer like a shift and lift solution. So right, so whatever you are doing, if the bank is doing it either with you, someone else, or internally, and like you really have to shift the workflow over, this is when integration time like starts exploding. So when we're designing our product and the processes we want to offer for the banks, we try to narrow it down, right? That ideally you can run our solution in the beginning in parallel. You can just give us part of this kind of workflow, let's say 10% of the problems you don't want to deal with, and we start working on them, and then over time integrating into more and more systems. So the way we set up the process is most of the time we only need access to one database, right? Like, and ideally they're running with like some partner that we're also familiar with, be it like a Databricks, a Snowflake, so we can get access to this. And then over the time and over the processes we extend at the bank, we just start integrating more and more. So for us, like really the KPIs are how fast can we go live with the first really ROI value add, and then we can work together with the bank to expand from there. So we're still going to integrate for a long time, but we want to go live very quickly with the bank, right? That's a little bit the learning we took. And this is how we try and speed things up. And it's also appreciated by the customers because everything that's new, they want to check, they want to double check. And if we can de-risk it for them to be like, hey, if it doesn't work, right? If the 10% you're not happy with it, we can go down to 0 again. This really gives you also the buy-in on the other side, and having the buy-in just speeds up the time of integration as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask on that, like when you're like speaking to traditional like financial institutions, you guys on paper would be like the flashy startup that, you know, maybe traditionally like in the tech ecosphere, that would be well received. But maybe in the traditional finance ecosystem, there may be some caution around, you know, how much do we show these guys? Do we like, who do we choose? Do we go on look at like a Gartner Magic Quadrant and get the lot, you know, like, which is very legacy. But yeah, how have those conversations been for you? How do you think you guys are being received?
Yeah, I think like financial services is an industry where it's like this phrasing, nobody gets fired for buying SAP is 100% true. And there's this one quote which I will never forget. So we're sitting with a bank, and they looked at the product and everything. They was like, oh, this is the Ferrari. We love it. Like it has everything we ever want, but we don't have anyone who can drive a Ferrari, right? So, and that's the problem. That's a huge problem. And I think this is where like the whole trust building factor and also understanding the table stakes from a regulatory point of view. Like it could be like DORA for some European banks or anything else. Like if you come into that room and if you show them that you understand not only the process you want to solve, so the product itself, but also that you know the playing field this bank works with, be it procurement, be it compliance and all of it, this really helps you to like move that needle and basically get into a conversation where they can take you serious. And then for larger financial institutes, of course, you can always go down the way of like a pilot and then show it to them. They don't have to commit, and it's probably also easier for them to buy it. But at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of companies and I know a lot of people who got stuck in this kind of pilot hell, right? Like you do a pilot and then they shut it down. They don't have any kind of intention. So we try to have these like early conversations, also uncomfortable conversations around, look, if we do this, we're happy to start small, but we want to have a real commitment in here and we can move that needle for you in the long run. But at the end of the day, it's really about trust building and showing that you know what you do and you can also manage for these kind of, so for us, it's the operations department, right? And we try to show the operational leaders that we can handle their procurement process, we can handle their compliance process, and we can take them by the hand to get us into the door, right?
I wanted to ask about scale and expansion and where obviously everything is very regulated within this industry and naturally, you know, Europe is quite fragmented and in terms of regulatory point of view. How do you guys look at that and look at the kind of speed of scale? You mentioned you have to build a lot of trust and it takes a lot of time. How does that work with kind of moving really quickly and building new products and updating existing customers, but then also like new customers? How does it all work in terms of, and how do you think about this, the kind of speed of scaling the business in that one?
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think we like there's no magic rule to it, right? Like we try to be a little bit smart about how we structure our go-to-market here, right? So within this industry, I think there are more digital players. So like naturally, the first people we talk to were the scale-ups of this world, right? They already have quite some number of end users. Like they have a lot of complexity in their workflows and everything. However, they're quick to decide, they're quick to integrate. Like for them, exposing internal APIs to us is just like, it's a no-brainer. For us, this is like the perfect stepstone because a company like Revolut has a scale that any kind of like traditional financial institute looks up to, just in the sheer number of transactions, number of end users. So we can prove with these kind of companies that we can handle the volume, which then gives us a better selling point to show, look, we can show you the proof that we know what we're doing and it's functioning and the system doesn't break. And we can then go to more traditional players to offer the same solution that need a little bit more trusting on this. But it's moving on both sides simultaneously, finding the right people at the right time to be willing to give us that chance. And At Upvest, I've been in sales processes over like 24 months, and
Yeah,
some of them worked out, some of them didn't, and 2 RFPs, same bank, never then decided on a vendor. Like, this is just part of the game. Like, for us, we're going into this kind of industry and this kind of business model, like, with our eyes open. Like, we know what we're getting into. We know there's going to be a distribution and a technical problem, not just a technical problem. And we're willing to go for it because we know that there's an impact to be made, and the pain for us is so obvious at our client side. Yeah.
Let's go. And then, like, I guess last question, just to come up to time. 2.7 million euros raised. What's the plan with the cash? Like, how are you guys going to be spending this?
So at our stage, we're going to spend it on more of our engineering team, right? For us, it's speed, building out the processes. Look, especially also then comes back to the go-to-market. If you just come with one process to a bank, it's very hard to buy this. If you can solve 10 different processes for them, it makes it much easier, right? So right now, most of the money will go into building out the team on the engineering side, continue to develop our product, and delighting our customers on that end. So, like, any kind of engineer watching this, please hit us up.
Hit me up.
Yeah,
where can we send them?
Yeah, where can we send everyone?
Sorry?
Where can we send the viewers? You know, we can like shill, like, what website, what jobs?
Yeah, please. So the website is withportis.com. So please send everyone to our website. Look, we're looking especially for engineers who want to be on the client side, right? Like, I think the word for deployed engineers is a little bit overused in the last couple of months and years. Nevertheless, I think especially today with everything that's happening, like coding, building product faster, like, we are at the client side, we're visiting our clients, we're working together with them. We build a system that starts with a very systematic product, but then the client can individualize it. For this, we need people that are really builders, right? If you ever thought about building a company but didn't had the step now to do it, join us for a couple of years, and then go out build it. And for the time being, we'll be the best employer that you can imagine.
Let's go. You heard it here first.
Okay.
Konstantin, thank you so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Really love what you're doing. So go on, and thanks for having me.
You're a legend, dude.
Good stuff.
Thanks for coming
Great
on.
to meet you, dude.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Next on the show, we have Neil Tawari, co-founder and CEO of Conversion. I believe he's in the studio. Can you hear us, Neil? We're good. We're good. How are you?
Awesome.
No. All good.
It's so good to have you on. We've been pretty pumped about this. I'm just checking with our producer to see if we've got you on the live show. You are now live, so welcome to the European Technology Network. First question off the bat: UCL Berkeley dropout. Why did you drop out studying electrical engineering, comp sci? You know, today these are classes, pretty awesome degrees. You dropped out at 19 and lived with 5 roommates. I got to hear more about this.
I appreciate it, man. I watched too much Silicon Valley growing up, or maybe watched Social Network too much. Got a little too obsessed. Drove the parents a little crazy for a little bit. But I was studying. I was at Berkeley. I was studying electrical engineering, computer science. Very proud to have studied Berkeley at Cal. A lot of fantastic like startups have been coming out of there, especially over the last couple of years. You see some amazing companies like Databricks doing super well. But it was always the dream. It was a combination of things, right? I think that it is a little over glamorized, especially in like the Bay Area in the US, like dropping out and building something really crazy. So that was always like in the back of my mind, building a little bit. And then it was all serendipitous too. Like I was in school, it was COVID. So there was a little bit more free time. There was a little less socializing than you would expect out of your college experience. And we just started with some stuff. And I think you guys already know, we'll get to it. We pivoted around quite a bit. We didn't land on exactly where I ended up right away. But we were trying some things stuck a little bit. We got a little bit of traction. And I think when I got a glimpse of how much you can learn, what you can do outside the classroom, it became a little too enticing and not take up on some of the time and opportunity there. So we very proudly have a lot of early members that didn't finish their degree necessarily, but have learned a lot over the last few years, just building from scratch. So it was a cool opportunity. Got together with a few roommates and we tried to build some cool stuff, and that turned into Conversion.
Let's go. You love that. You love that hustle culture, man. Tell us about the business. Tell us about Conversion. You guys are on a tear. Would love to hear more about it. You know, core product, how have things been recently?
Yeah. So yeah, when we originally dropped out, we were building some different stuff, but when we got to what we're building today, Conversion is a modern marketing automation platform. We manage the entire marketing infrastructure for large enterprises. So if you're a large company, how do you manage everything from your forms to ads to landing pages? Once you've kind of submitted your email, which of those different things are you receiving is dependent on your Salesforce data, your Snowflake product data, all those kind of things. Conversion helps optimize that for very large enterprises. If you're familiar with Marketo, we're a modern solution for that for modern companies, modern replacement for that. Excuse me.
Let's go.
And the kind of like main, we see a lot of tweets about that. The main differentiator now is distribution. That is kind of the thing that's everyone can build whatever they want to go and build, but distribution is the main thing. When you're talking to these enterprise clients, what's their thesis? Are they super focused on the products and they're just like, hey, you guys we need you because we don't want to think too much about it, or are they saying we need you because this is such an important part of growing a successful company?
It's a great question. The interesting part about building hypercritical software is that you have that component for sure. You have to still cut through noise. You still have to do all those things. But then you also have like a higher bar in terms of like product and what you have to create for them as well. Like what if conversion goes down, or if Marketo were to have gone down, like a company's forms don't work. It's super, super critical software, manages their entire infrastructure. I think that's what's difficult about building like enterprise ready like software, is that you have to have that. Then even after you've gone through the entire effort of being able to build something that can manage millions of contacts from one of the biggest companies in the world, then you still got to cut through the noise and help with distribution as well. So when we speak to large enterprise, I think there's a lot of need for, hey, we want to have AI in our marketing automation stack. We don't have that today. We want to be able to bring in all these different signals. We want to be able to bring in product data to be able to go out and segment all of our users and target them the right way. But then there's the additional problem of like, we also need to have all the table stakes and be as robust for an enterprise company. So Converge's got a decently complicated technical task to get to the right level, but I'd say we have both problems as we try and scale.
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to ask, obviously we're kind of like very content led as a business, right? But where a lot of enterprises kind of looking to really like hyperscale their kind of marketing.
Yeah, I think it so depends on where you're targeting. When it comes to, so for a company like us, we're much more enterprise. We do some content, but we're still doing a lot of classic stuff, man. It's kind of interesting that the bigger you go, the more in person it becomes. So there's still a lot of, I think, like the best enterprise focused software companies are meeting their customers in person before they're a customer, after they're a customer. They're hosting live events. They're doing webinars. I guess it's not in person, but you're still doing a lot of human to human interaction. And I think it's because the barrier to entry is just very trust based. You want to speak to somebody, especially when you're a little bit earlier, if you're going to replace something so critical. So you still have that content component. You still want to focus on things like an academy, educational resources, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of meeting customers in person, which I personally love a lot. But that's been our main channel, is we're traveling all over the place.
That's so cool. And like we get hyper exposed to that content side as well, I think, just naturally being like a media business. I think like one of the articles that went viral that was sort of pushed to me on my For You feed was like one of the Wall Street Journal ones. The storytellers wanted enterprise companies, it was like Vanta paying $275,000 for a quotation mark storyteller, right? There's arguments, these are just sort of comms teams. There's arguments that it's not. Like, how do you see the enterprise marketing space shifting in the future? Do you think it will always be like, I'm surprised to hear that the webinars are still like a go-to, well, one that obviously works, because if it didn't work, they wouldn't be doing it. But that, like, to me, that's surprising. But I'm trying to work out if I'm just hyper exposed to, the media first stuff, if that makes sense.
So I think there's a few different ways to grow the marketing, but like, I think, content, all things human, things like what we're doing right now, I think trumps a lot. Like, you see that all the way from PLG companies. You see like with the recent explosion of like Clay and how much they've done with content and how that's taken off for them, all the way up to like enterprises even focusing on things like academies for their clients and stuff as well. I think like the expectation for software now is that you can use it right away. It's really easy to use. It's high trust. And if you're using something, given how easy it's supposed to be now for people to see what you're using, it should be really easy to figure out what other people are thinking about using your software, or seeing like case studies really quickly or testimonials really quickly. And so with that expectation comes the understanding there's probably a preponderance of content out there. I remember when we got started, something that we'd hear a lot is like, oh, I see the product in front of me. I've done some demos. I can see how it will improve on top of what I currently have with Marketo. But I just don't see a lot of content about you guys out there. Like when I look you guys up, I don't see a lot of information, whatever it is. And it was very transformative when we just started posting like our first few case studies or first few pieces of content out there, even some write-ups. We started with just like written content, which you would think would be the most commoditized at this point. But it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. I think teams that still focus on that internally, they have quite an edge in their marketing.
Yeah, we had Tyler Denk on at Beehive a few weeks ago, and it's surprising just how he does the simple stuff so well, and it just works so well. And I think people always like try to overcomplicate it, as you mentioned, right? It's like as the company gets bigger, in person just becomes so much more important, which you would naturally think, AI is changing everything, try and create these kind of really convoluted like agents to do X, Y, Z. But realistically, it's just get people in a room, create trust. And that's really how you kind of go and do it. What's your plan for 26 to kind of like, are you having to educate like companies to be like, whoa, like you don't need to really like get complicated about this stuff. This is kind of how you do it. Are they the conversation you guys are having?
It quite literally is exactly that. It's like that bell curve meme, right? Where you're like, how do we get to this person? And then you get to the top, you're like, let's run some complicated, crazy campaigns. And then at the bottom, you're just like, all right, let's just meet people in person. So it's very similar to that. I think we have a very large focus on like meeting people in person, being at every conference, doing like a lot of handshakes. And then, like the companies we work with are large enough that it makes sense for us to just be very, very targeted in our approach. Like when we meet a client that we're like, hey, I think we can provide a tremendous amount of value to you as a business, we just make a custom landing page. We send that to every stakeholder. We make it simple. Like here's the value that's provided to each one of you guys. And we drive ABM to exactly that. We're probably like I was going to say like we go most first principles among like enterprise software. Like we try and be as first principles with exactly how we're targeting folks. Here's the value. We're going to come in person and build that trust. And here's exactly what we do for you guys. We just have different channels of actually executing how we communicate that information.
That's good. Keeping it simple. Going back a little bit, I read somewhere just when we were prepping for the conversation that you'd spent 2 months conducting 160 interviews with VPs of marketing before like a single piece of code was ever written for conversion. What was that like? And two, when was the moment where you were like, okay, 160 is enough, like let's go?
Yeah, my favorite number, 160. So when we actually, so James, my co-founder, and I, when we got together in Berkeley, we were like, we want to do something, we want to build something. And we said, the first thing that we started working on was in-game ads in video games. Why? We didn't speak to anybody. We did no market validation, nothing. We were just like, this seems like a cool idea. We were playing some video games in COVID and we were bored. And so we started doing that. And we actually ended up doing like all the ads all the way for like even Mariah Carey's Roblox concert. And I don't know if you guys happen to see that. So
no way.
We did some cool stuff. There was no like large scale or deep product market fit. Surprisingly, no VP of marketing wakes up every day and they're like, how do I get my brand in video games like today? And so it wasn't like a really strong concept, but we did some cool stuff. That's how we started speaking to VPs of marketing in the first place. And we had raised some money to do that. And eventually we're like, okay, this is not like how you build like a really large scale company just by like guessing what some of the biggest problems are. And we're like, the advantage of being a young founder is you can work really hard, you can work really fast, you have a lot of time to take risks, but the disadvantage is spending a lot less time in market with your future customers. And so we were like, okay, let's make that disadvantage an advantage. And so we offer gift cards. You'd be surprised if you're like, hey, I'm just trying to learn. Here's $50. How many really important people will take meetings with you? And so we did that. You're right. 160, a slightly arbitrary number, but that's when we started to like see our learnings kind of asymptote out. We were like, okay, I think I can deeply understand what some of the biggest pains of VPs of marketing usually are. And that's where we kind of unearthed the pain point that we went to target for. So no magic science there, but we learned a tremendous amount. And that's how like folks who, didn't spend as much time on Marketo hopefully became kind of Marketo experts, and then we're able to kind of build the next gen version.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just have one more before
we
go. There's 2 minutes left. I'd seen the Minecraft and NFT. When I was researching, it said like you guys were doing billboards in Minecraft and NFT concerts in Roblox. Was the research that I found. How was this working? I remember when there was like you could buy land in like Sandbox, I think it was called, like NFT versions of like land. So I can imagine that there'll be some areas where a similar thing could work. How did you get into this though? This is so niche.
That was pretty niche. So that was before these interviews. Like before these interviews, we were like, and that was kind of like the random guess of like where can we see some like potential before we kind of like went through like methodically did our homework on what are some of like the most important problems. That was cool, man. So yeah, we like I said, we started with in-game ads, and there was some opportunity to do some NFT stuff. That did do we did some cool stuff in Minecraft there as well, and that kind of all ended up going into, I think that Mariah Carey was like the peak of that pre-PMF conversion story 5 years ago or so. That had like millions of eyeballs and did some cool stuff, and we got to meet Mariah, and we got to do some really cool work with that team. That's one of my biggest flexes as a founder. But
that's sick.
That's where it really peaked, but I think eventually we're like, okay, here's where we can actually build a massive sustainable company. That changed after some of those interviews with those VPMs.
Dude, so cool, so awesome.
Very wise.
Yeah, we're essentially out of time, dude. Thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute blast. We'd love to keep updated with everything you guys are doing as well.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys having me on. Big fan.
Anytime, dude. Have a good one. Cheers.
Before we have our final guest on, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com.
Next guest of the day, Nicola, co-founder and CEO of Poly AI. For the second time on the European Technology Network, we've been pumped to get this one set up again. We're just checking with our producer if we can bring him on live, and we can indeed. Nicola, welcome back. You are live on ETN.
Hey guys, good to see you again. How's it going?
It's going good, dude. It's going good. We had a few technical difficulties this morning, but we are over them.
Yeah, the stream was rocking, and then we had to cut the stream, and then we had to do it again. But
we were zigzagging. We were zigzagging a bit. But enough about us. You guys have been up to some crazy stuff recently. I don't even know where to start. I think I'd love to start with Gordon Ramsay.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to play the ad? I don't know how I share the screen here.
Can we do that?
I'm not. We could have done it this morning, but I think something has happened that.
We can see. Can we see it?
Can you see it?
I think we can, but I'm not sure our viewers can. But we can see it.
Yeah, our viewers can't see it. That's so sad.
Our viewers won't be able to. We can. I think I've seen this.
Let me play the last point.
Let's just play it. Let's just play it.
Yeah, let's see.
Boom. That's so cool. Where did you run the ad? Was it just on like socials, or did you run it anywhere else?
No, this was Super Bowl ads. So it aired in a number of states during the Super Bowl, kind of like on connected TV. Just on YouTube, it has 3.5 million views, which is like more than you think.
Dude, what?
Everything. No, I mean, think about like European technology, whatever. What can we do better than Americans? Maybe we don't have bigger tech companies yet, but we dress better, we look better, we produce more fun things. We have Gordon. And like, Poly AI, much like Gordon, is a thing that has succeeded in America much more so than in Europe in terms of like commercial traction. So we thought he was a really fitting. Plus, I love Hell's Kitchen. I must have seen every season.
Dude, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah?
Yeah. I remember on the first season, I found it so crazy because it was hilarious. He has the group of people. It's before they've gone into the kitchen, and he just appears on the roof of the restaurant, and it's kind of like, look up there, And then everyone's like, and it's Gordon Ramsay like looming over them. And he's like, your first test is to jump off the roof of this building, like onto like a mat to test if you've got the heart of a good chef.
Makes sense. Look, I love the guy. I mean, and he is so authentic. He is the same person on and off the screen. Like, he's not acting. He's one of those that he's not acting, right?
But how was it meeting him? And how did you reach out?
He's an investor, is he?
So yeah, now he's on the cap table.
Love it.
Previously, we started the whole interaction with him by closing his restaurants as a client, right? Because for Poly, like the thing that we always looked for is clients that like publicly swore that they would never use automation. We're all about the experience. I was like, so are we. That's why we want you to be our client, right? So clients like Gordon, a number of like 5-star properties, like I don't know, Boca Raton, a bunch of others. But Gordon Ramsay restaurants, if you think of like fine dining, you can go no further than his places, right? So they were a client, and through that we were able to kind of get them interested in this collaboration, and it's been a real dream come true. And then when you meet him, like, he's huge. Like I'm the shortest Serb you will ever meet. I saw the guy. Whoa, okay. Like, so the further intimidation of, and he's in shape. So you see the guy, and it's like, whoa, I can see why they're so afraid of him, right? But yeah, and then he's now on the cap table. We're really excited about everything. And restaurant reservations are a thing that long before we had voice agents everywhere and these wars between 100 companies trying to like implement them as fast as possible. Restaurant reservations were like one of the first use cases. Even back in like academia, back at Cambridge, it was like, can you build a reservationist, right? So we got pretty, and everyone talks about forward deployed engineering and all that. We have gotten to the point now where a restaurant in OpenTable can go in. So anyone watching who is a restaurant owner with OpenTable, you go in, integrations, Poly AI, click, like crawls your website, crawls your OpenTable instance, and gives you back your voice agent, just like that. No forward deployedness, no prolonged time with me or my team. Click, you've got it, you've got a phone number, it's integrated with your backend, off you go, right? So kind of like SaaS is that. I think the final, it is that traditional SaaS, but the final form expression of AI is if we can make it as elegant and seamless as SaaS, then we've done something right.
Yeah, we keep coming back to this like integration thing where the agentic startups that are all flashy and everything, they've raised hundreds of millions. Like, can they actually integrate into the product? And I think we talked about it when you were on the show first time. But what you just said, no one really has said that in terms of the integration is like as fluid as possible. Yeah. When you built everything, was that like the main focus to be like, we need integration to be like so good? Because when we hit PMF with a smaller number of clients, it's like now the client count is just going to go sky high, and you've done, it was like 500 million calls.
Yeah, we have. I think you have two ways to go if you want to scale into a very large business, right? One is you find these use cases where integrations are like pre-baked, you develop diplomatic relations, like we are very close with OpenTable. We're the company that convinced them to open up to others. People now talk about open and closed ecosystems. We were like, hey, if half the people still make reservations by calling, then you might as well capture that demand too, rather than pretending it'll go away. Because for about 10 years, post OpenTable becoming a very large company, London and New York both had like 50-50 calls versus online bookings. So if it's going to stay there, you might as well service that demand too, right? So if you want to build a really big AI company, you've got two ways to go. One is SMB, mass market, easy integrations, one click, SaaS-like, right? The other one is you're a big enterprise. You're a large client of ours. Maybe you are Allstate. Maybe you are Unicredit. Maybe you are FedEx, right? At that point, there will be a Poly AI team, which will be like almost badge carrying employees of one of those companies. They'll work with you for years, Palantir-like, to build something really valuable for you. And that will involve building custom integrations and all that as well. But there, the effort makes sense because the gain is huge, right? You might be doing the work of well over 1,000 people, sometimes even more. So that makes sense. That's custom, that's slow, that's enterprise. It's, a lot of like historic big software companies understand this well, right? Or you're building kind of like a mass market SMB motion.
That's so interesting. There was something in the previous thing you just said. It's the first time I think someone has been as matter of fact of you, but you said SaaS is dead. Traditional SaaS is dead. I'd love to hear your take on what's happening right now. People are calling it the SaaS apocalypse. I didn't even realize, but I checked HubSpot and Salesforce's stock price over the year. One's down 40%, one's down 60%. I didn't know it was that much. I thought that was shocking.
Yeah. I mean, I think like those companies are like, IS has that. I mean, they're so integrated in large enterprises that they will continue to service them and they will have the revenue and they will exist, right? They'll probably have like even healthy margins. However, the market is not rewarding them because the value is moving up into the agentic layer. And in technology, we constantly just build new layers as we build more complicated things. The issue is, and I think for Salesforce, the reason that they've tanked is that Agentforce has failed, right? First half of the company left, and the breakaway Republic of Sierra is taking their clients, right? While they're not really scaling theirs, and we see a lot of Salesforce clients attempt Agentforce, then come back and go like, "Hey, Polly, can we do chat with you as well?" We used to have no chat clients; we were a voice-only shop. Now a quarter of our revenue is omni-channel, and we have Salesforce to thank for getting those people to look at agentic solutions for the chat channel because they tried with them, failed, and then asked us if we can step in and do that as well. So because they're failing to capture the higher margin, faster growing TAM of the new agentic layer, where you're basically capturing that all that new revenue that used to be human labor, because they're not capturing that, they're getting penalized on valuation because the future growth will not be there. They are not going to be like, it's not whether SaaS is that, is that sexy SaaS is no longer those guys. They're no longer sexy. They are now infrastructure. They're a utility company. The same way that, when internet came along, someone put down all the fiber, they put the CapEx investments in, and they didn't reap the benefits, right? Similarly, these guys are the infra. They will continue to be the infra. They are very important companies. But I think that just by virtue of being so large, they're not capturing this new demand, the new opportunity, the way that startups can. So, in the long haul, does it mean that they acquire and somehow integrate so that they become sexy again? Well, maybe. I don't see how they're going to build it. None of them are managing it.
Yeah, the acquisition piece is an interesting one as well, right? Because it's almost like the people you're buying, they are still sat at the frontier of technology. So they might not want, traditionally it would be like an acqui-hire, right? They're probably buying the engineering team as well as the product. They probably might not want to be at a company that large.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, that's, I think, a hard one for the long haul, because I think it really matters what happens in 5 years from now, right?
Yeah.
But I think I think Sachs and the Olin podcast explained it really well. It was the one best explanation of it. And it's the value is moving up into the agentic layer. If they're not part of it, they're just going to be the ones trading at lower multiples. Because, in our space, you have CCaaS vendors that are essential companies. You can't take a phone call without them. They own telephony. And yet, they're not very different from each other, even though what they do is mission critical and important, and they will get paid, and they're hard to remove. But, they're not capturing this new revenue as easily. And because of that, the market just punishes and punishes. You look at a live person, I think they're worth, I don't know, you can Google it, but a few $100 million. And I think they've got $1 billion of revenue or something like that.
So what does the future of Poly AI look like? You guys are obviously growing super quickly. I assume there's still a lot of kind of low hanging fruit of these companies who want to deploy and deploy your service fairly easily now. Where do you guys go from here? You mentioned a quarter of your revenue is now chat based. What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that we have never worked harder or been more excited about everything. More calls, more chats, more everything. But what's coming down the line very quickly, and you'll see us being very loud in the coming period, is a full opening of our platform for a much wider audience than before. We'll continue to push out sequences of these agentic applications. So think of them as apps, not things like Poly AI teams work with you, a large enterprise, to build complex deployments, although we'll continue to do that because we're the best at it. What we'll do is a sequence of bursts of things where, a restaurants can get it with a one click. And then, in healthcare, we see huge traction. We grew 10x in healthcare over the past 5 quarters.
Yeah.
So there'll probably be sequences of that coming out in the future. And then the team is incredibly excited about the coding tools and the ability to build things more and more quickly, to port a lot of the legacy systems using Cloud Code and other things integrated within our framework and interacting in proprietary ways to rebuild IVRs that a company like Nuance or older school IVRs might have built up over many years. We can now port it in 4 hours. And that's Satanism. It's unbelievable, right? So, yeah, I don't know if you guys, how excited you guys are about
Well, dude, I was I was going to jump in there because I was watching the video that PolyAI tweeted out the other day, literally like 3 days ago, I think, or 2 days ago. And I did like, one of the questions I ask is, where do you guys go from here in terms of the technology and its capabilities, right? We talk about the Turing test. I was listening to the voice agent that you guys are playing. And it's even like it was a female agent on the phone. And when they're talking to the individual who's called them, it's even implementing like let me just check that for you. That was nuts. Like that is just so, it could fool anyone I know who doesn't sit in tech 100%.
Yeah.
I guess you can only kind of tell if, like, I knew I was watching a PolyAI tweet, right? So I knew, but like, where do you go from here with that? Like, what's the next boundary?
Listen, we had our company kickoff in Barcelona with like 300 plus people, unbelievable energy. And like the main thing I had for people is like under 2% of all phone calls that can be automated, like by businesses small or large that need to pick them up, have been automated. Like, so while we've like built the technical capability, there's so much work to do. So we just got to go and do that work, right? And in doing that, we just built a much bigger company. And within all that, all that stuff, and enterprise integrations and diplomacy with large vendors and everything we talked about matters. But like, there's just work to be done. So much work, and that's it.
Dude, let's go.
I wanted to quickly ask about we didn't. Everything else that happened with kind of like OpenClaw and all of that kind of stuff happened after you came on. And I wanted to ask generally about everything that's going on within kind of like agents and Peter being hired by OpenAI and stuff. What's your kind of like general take about that?
I just wish I could stop time so I could really follow and play around with it. I've set up like OpenClaw and, I've done a little bit. I don't have enough time to properly like immerse myself in it. And, I am a formerly extremely technical person who now, dresses up for enterprise clients. I've not been pining for doing tech for a while, because I love all this stuff as well. But now I am. I really I see some things, and my co-founder Eddie has a kind of a tiger team implementing some of those things internally, and we'll probably come out with another release on the back of all that. It's unbelievable. It really feels like we're already in the singularity now. Whether we can argue about where AGI starts, but I think we crossed the Rubicon. We probably crossed the Rubicon a few months ago.
Yeah. Are you guys moving faster as an internal team just purely because of OpenClaw?
Incredible. Yeah. Well, I mean, not OpenClaw, just like all coding tools and the ways we've integrated them.
Yeah.
Dude, let's go. We are fresh out of time, but it's always a pleasure. It's always an open seat whenever you guys want to come back on. Yeah, we really appreciate your time, mate. Thank you.
Of course. Good to see you guys. Keep rocking.
You're a legend, dude. Have a good one, man.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
That
Nicola,
is the show. Just to finish up, leave our daily business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Thank you so much for joining. We apologize for the technical difficulties that we had about an hour ago, but we're back.